Food for one is might be poison for others. But Lord appears in the form of Vedic literature to purify everyone. That is called as Shuddham. Gradually they are being purified from karma, jnana, ashtanga, then they come to ultimate purification in the form of bhakti yoga. But the process is purification by slowly restricting their sinful activities. So Prabhupada mentions, so when a living entity comes from such diverse background and it comes from the brink of bhakti, Prabhupada is quoting here 9th chapter, 30th and 31st verse, that sadhu reva samantavya, that anybody who is trying to practice bhakti, who has come from different background and coming to practice bhakti, is glorious, is sukritina. But in the beginning, a devotee may appear to be suduracharaha. He might exhibit some worldly conditionings. Like when Prabhupada gave initiation to all his disciples, somebody used to go and eat and burgers. When they used to see Prabhupada, they will hide behind the table after Diksha. And Prabhupada used to go with stick to see where they are sitting and what they are eating. And then Prabhupada used to come and again in the morning class, he started, there was no morning program. Only one thing was that chant Hare Krishna, take prasad, and that's it. And at night, 9 o'clock, the preaching session is to start. In New York, in San Francisco, 9 o'clock, 9:30 they used to go. And when Prabhupada saw that he had given Diksha, but many of them were becoming weak, so he told, now onwards you should get up in the Brahmurta and start chanting Hare Krishna. That is how morning round started in 1967-68. There was one and a half year, there was no morning round. So Acharya has that potency to purify. So similarly, that Acharya is mentioning, that Acharya is representing the Balram Tattva. So Lord, who sees that devotee is not well behaved, but Lord is telling he should be accepted as pure. Why? Because example Sarvam Prabhu gives in his class, Bhakti Shastri of this Bhagavad Gita, is somebody is playing in the ground and somehow slipped and fell down in the mud, and he has become completely cleansed, completely filled with filth all over his body. His kurta has become muddy, dhoti has become muddy, and his whole hairs are filled with muddy fluid. It has gone into his eyes, ears, everything has become like muddy. And he's going to shower now. And you're going shower. प्रभु जी क्या हुआ आपको, ऊपर से नीचे तक पूरा पूरा काले हो गए आप. You will tell, wait for some time. After shower, I will become completely cleansed. So coming to bhakti process is like standing under the shower. Therefore, all of us are in shower. So here and there, when shower is happening, little bit dirt will be visible because of conditioning. Uh, Understand, na? But it's Krishna's responsibility to clean that. But somebody else goes and says, "Bro, dirt is here." Then what happens? Unless otherwise we are not in a position, in a managerial position, in an inspirational position, then we commit offense. That conditioning or sinful activities conducted by that participant or that devotee will be purified by Krishna very soon. But the aparadha cannot be purified very soon. So the difference between sin and aparadha. So Jagai Madai, they had not committed aparadha. They had been sinful activities. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered them. But then those who commit aparadha, that sin of Jagai Madai which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taken, it is roaming on the top of the temple's clouds. Wherever ashram is there, wherever devotees are staying, and on the top of the flats it is hovering in the form of clouds. And somebody commits aparadha, immediately that drizzle starts falling on their head. Because that is sin. He took that sin and made it as cloud. Wherever devotees commit aparadha, that sin will fill there. Okay? So this is the purifying effect. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivering Jagai Madai. As soon as Chaitanya Nityananda saw that they have to be delivered, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took it to the heart and told them, now no more sin. So in the beginning, they may not well behaved, but they'll become very soon accepted as pure because they are on the right path. So what we have to learn from this is not that we have a license to commit sinful activities. What the lesson we have to learn from is that we should be careful from committing finding faults in others, and propagating that fault. In this regard, I'll just tell you one story from one book which I read from Shuvela's prose book. There was one king and there was one minister, and they were going on a tour on the chariot. नींद आ रहा है ना? अभी नींद से उठ जाओगे. हाँ? And when both of them came across one portion of the bungalow, everything was symmetrically planned in the city. But somehow or the other, that particular bungalow, first time in the king's life, it has been since 50, 60 years before his father only. Father, before he was a prince, before only that was constructed. But somehow the first time in his life, he saw that this bungalow has spoiling the symmetry of the road. And he orders the minister, मंत्री को बोलते हैं, इस बंगलो का है ना बहुत पोर्शन थोड़ा रोड की तरफ आया है, जो बाकी सब सिमेट्री है ना, बाकी सब घर जहाँ तक अंदर गए हैं ना 10 फीट, इसको भी 5 फीट तोड़ दो. मिनिस्टर स्टार्ट थिंकिंग, मंत्री सोचने लगा ये जो राजा है और ये जो जमींदार है, दोनों का अच्छा चलता है, इसका बिजनेस सब अच्छा चलता है. जब भी राजा को कुछ करना रहता है घर के लिए, पॉट बनाना रहता है, टेबल बनाना रहता है, फर्नीचर बनाना रहता है, कुछ भी रहता है, तो इसको ये ऑर्डर करता है और चीप में कभी कभी फ्री में भी माल बेच देता है, 10% फ्री में दे देता है. तो उनका तो संबंध बहुत अच्छा है, दे आर गुड रिलेशनशिप. बट व्हाई इज दैट किंग इज नॉट एनवियस, बट व्हाई इज दैट किंग इज ऑर्डरिंग दैट दिस बंगलो शुड बी कट 5 feet to make the road symmetry. So minister writes in his diary, I will do it. And then king goes ahead. The minister comes at that night. That night minister comes where? To that zamindar who had a wood business. He used to supply wood. Wood का गोडाउन था उनके पास बिल्कुल. And just before this meeting with the king, the mantri had gone to his spiritual master. And spiritual master had instructed him in Bhagavatam class one theme. Today we heard one theme. Anything which is non-Krishna or non-Vishnu will infect us, will affect us, and will may disturb us and deviate us. So similarly, he had heard in the Bhagavatam class from his guru that whatever you think, you create an action for it. As you sow, so shall you reap. Same thing we heard, na? If somebody sows thorn in your garden, you should sow flower. Same similar thing he told. Whatever you sow, you will reap. But whatever you think, you will get. Or you will create that kind of environment around you. Your thoughts have an can become activated and become actions against you. If you desire good for others, it will become good. If you desire bad for the others, it will become bad. Basically, your mind is your dushman. Dushman. Something like that. Huh? So when Mantra was thinking, that thought came to him that whatever you think, that will happen with you. So with that principle, he goes to my minister goes to this zamindar and asks, have you been thinking anything bad against this royal king or his family? The minister this zamindar becomes immediately disturbed. No, he's having such wonderful relation with him. We have such nice ties of business. Why will I think anything bad about his royalty or his family lineage? Once again, the minister tells the whole class to him and tells, क्लास हो जाता है, उसका बताता है जो भी आप सोचते हो ना वो आपके पास आता है. अच्छा सोचोगे अच्छा आएगा, बुरा सोचोगे बुरा आएगा, कांटे को बोओगे कांटा आएगा, फूल को बोओगे फूल आएगा. तो बताओ क्या सोचा आपने राजा के विरुद्ध में against the king. What you have thought about him or his royalty or his family lineage? Zamindar then understands. कुछ नहीं. He starts becoming little uneasy. But the minister tells him, "Bro, I have not come here like a royal personality. I just come here as a friend to help you because king has told me to break 5 feet of your bungalow." And that bungalow was big, almost like half acre. It was big damage. So then he tells, "Actually, I have not thought anything bad against the king. Only thing, recently, from since last 1 year, I had ordered a huge load of sandalwood wood. It is lying in my godown since 1 year. And nobody apart from king will purchase it. And who will purchase so much sandalwood? Only when somebody dies in the king's family, they'll use sandalwood for burning that body. So I'm just thinking when some death will come in Film's family by which this sandalwood will be sold and this godown will become empty and I'll get some money. The minister understood. This is a negative thought which is having against the king. Okay, that is it. That's it. Okay, no issue. The minister goes the next day. He goes to the royal treasurer. He tells that we need some sandalwood for the king, and therefore we can take it and keep it in the godown, royal godown. And he takes some money, gives it to the zamindar. Zamindar's whole godown becomes empty, and after some weeks, again king comes on the tour. Zamindar is happy. The sandalwood has gone to the king's godown, and king and minister again they come on the chariot. Again king stops. मंत्री को रोकते हैं, क्या हुआ बंगलों का, अब तक क्यों नहीं तोड़ा उसको? बोलते हाँ पिछली बार आपने बताया था, 1 महीने पहले उसको तोड़ना है, मैं सोच रहा था कैसे क्या तोड़ना है, अब तक तोड़ा नहीं क्या आपने? नहीं तोड़ा. ठीक है रहने दो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, ज़्यादा कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं उससे. एंड ही गोज अहेड. So meaning is any negativity thought in the mind, we think na this person is not behaving nicely with me, that person is my enemy, he is my friend. Like Kal Chakrapu told today, Dush, Dushta Man. Your mind is our friend, or mind is our enemy. This story can easily show us. If you think any negativity about any person, then that person will deal in that negativity because we are creating that negativity in that person. So therefore, that is the reason in the 17th chapter of Bhagavatam, when Kavarkshit Maharaj is catching Kali, standing with his sword, and that sword or that what do you say gada has become bloody, and bull has lost his 3 legs, cow is crying. So Parikshit, before taking punishing Kali, is inquiring from Dharma, the bull, and the mother earth cow, who is the perpetrator, who is the perpetrator, or who is the person who is a exploiter, or who is the aggressor. Dharma is also not replying, Bhumi is also not replying. And they start giving 5 philosophical reasons. According to Daiva, the karma is Lord, Daiva is a Karan. That is Patanjali. For 6 system of philosophy, they start telling there. 6 system of philosophy. According to Patanjali, one's karma. According to this, Dharmajna, Daiva. According to Mimamsa, one's own actions. According to Vedanta Sutra or Vaishnavas, Lord's will. Now you decide for you yourself who is the cause of our misery. The reason Chakravartipad mentions one who identifies mistake or fault, one who identifies fault also becomes faulty. And this is a higher principle which existed in previous ages. But in Kali Yuga is so saturated with faults. Without any reason, so much quarrel happens. What to speak of such subtle principles? I can myself tell it took me 4 or 5 years to understand good. What is modes? When I started working, that time I got to understand how modes act. That only in mode of goodness one can be happy. It took me some 3 or 4 years of Chinese history notes to understand how modes work. I'm just telling my gross ignorance. So if those people who are not chanting Hare Krishna, for them to appreciate this concept that when you speak fault, find fault without being authoritative or without being in the mood, in the role of spiritual master, that boomerangs us only. So any negativity we have against anyone, if the person is dealing negatively with us, we should see in ourselves how is my thought process against him. So from this line we learn this, that a person may not be well behaved, but he should be accepted as pure. So Krishna is telling somebody may not be well behaved, sadhu reva samantavya, but he should be accepted as pure because he is on the right path. So Vaishnavas, especially brahmacharis, they have given up everything, they have come to this ashram. Little bit, somebody may wash his nose in a different way. Somebody may cut his hairs in a different way, or he may cut his hairs and leave the hairs there only. Or somebody may go to washroom, toilet, and he may not flush it only. Or he may pass urine and he may not flush it only. Many times when you go to third floor, any floor, most of many times when you go to third floor, when I was in third floor for 7 8 years, every time new batch used to come, we used to see. So it takes some time. Some people find so much fault, but जब हम थे हमने हमने भी ऐसा किया तो टाइम लगता है थोड़ा लेयर ऑफ इग्नोरेंस जाने का तो टाइम लगता है ही इज ऑन द राइट पाथ हेट द सिन नॉट द सिनर सो दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट because Lord is Shuddha. Okay, this is a very very important point. And Lord is Teji Ashamna Doshaya. Even if Lord performs any activity which is materialistically sinful, like dancing with other women who are wives of somebody else, but when Krishna does it, it's like Prabhupada gives example of sweet meat owner. Somebody has a bakery and he is making हलवाई अपना हलवाई निकाल के खा रहा है लेकिन बाहर का कोई आके उसमें डालेगा तो डंडा गिरेगा गाय आएगी तो उसको डंडा मिलेगा so Lord is creating Lord is like Purusha he is Kala and Pumsa Mahavishnu is his Kala Lord Krishna is a Lord Krishna's expansion is Balram. Balram's expansion is Adi Shankarshan. His expansion is Sankarshan. Then his expansion is Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu's expansion is Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And that from Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Pradhan is coming. That becomes Mahatattva. From Mahatattva becomes Ahankar. Ahankar comes all this body, senses, mind, intelligence, ego, and the living entity. So material, spiritual. Lord is like the owner of the sweetmeat shop, and he's just playing around with his sweetmeats. It doesn't make him faulty. So he's all powerful. We can hardly begin to imagine the purifying strength of the all powerful Lord. So Apapa wisdom we understand. Don't find fault with Lord, and Shuddham we understand. Don't find fault with devotees who are trying to serve Lord very closely. Same principle will come in Upadeshamrit. Mantras 5, Ganges, when you see the Ganges and you seeing the foams, don't stop drinking Ganges water just by seeing some foams or dead body floating in Ganges. That is materialistic vision. So similarly, the devotee is, he has no other business to find fault. Ninda adi shunyam. That is what differentiates a Uttamadhikari from Madhyamadhikari and Kanishtadhikari. That is based on faith. This is based on knowledge. So that is what the differentiating factor. If at all we want to advance Krishna consciousness very, very quickly, we should work on this one principle. Finding fault. We stop finding fault unnecessarily. If we are not managers, if we are not given that responsibility, don't venture in that. Because that can burn us if we are not mature. So therefore, who becomes a leader? Who is very mature, who has practiced sadhana, he is made a leader. And that is not an easy job. You know the story of that. Somebody is telling no like this. So you want to become temple president? No. That is a joke of ISKCON. Huh? Okay. Shuddham, apapa, Vidam. So this is very deep principles which we learn from this Shruti mantra of Vishopanishad. We should not find fault with Vaishnavas and we should not find fault with Lord. Even if you find fault with Lord, chant the holy names, we will be purified. Haristane aparade तारे हरि नाम तुम स्थाने अपराधे nahi paritran. So it's very important to have our proper attitude. So advancement in Krishna consciousness depends upon the Yanoi. So Ishwar Prashad, Bhagavad Yanoi, everything is related in Bhakti Shastra. Okay? We'll go to the next shloka. Yes.
Finding fault means every person or every devotee has some negative and positive, and their dealings also we can see everyone. So positive and negative both we see, and then when the next that person when we come across that devotee, then our mind projects that this devotee has this quality and he has dealt like this in the past. All the information comes in the mind.
Yes.
So, so what is that aparad actually? When we see that person, both things comes and whatever dealings he has done with us, whatever experiences we have had with him, everything comes in the mind. Then what is the fault finding?
Yes, I'll tell you. When we work as humans, we act, we catch actions. That is act. When we do any activity, we catch somebody's action. Many things are caught and thought. We catch or act. And then what we do? We file it in our conscious mind, subconscious mind, perception. So now from here, when before following perception, you should delete it. Act, file, delete. When you're serving with anybody, actions will happen. You'll have some perceptions. Before making it second nature, you should delete it. Is it beneficial for me? It's not beneficial for me. It's beneficial for me. Try to take it to superiors and try to tell it to them. And then delete. Don't have grudges or grievances or out of jealousy we do it. That becomes aparadh. But if you're trying to do it as an instrument with no false ego, act, file, delete, then that will not become aparadh. But we have तुमने ऐसा किया मेरे साथ मैं तुझको दिखाता हूँ. That is about mood. If that, it's a thin layer like detachment and irresponsibility. Thin layer. Right? Affection and attachment, thin layer. Similarly, in fault finding also, whether you're doing for that benefit or you're doing for pulling his leg or trying to hit fault at, there is a thin layer. So when you stay with devotees, we are in modes, we are trying to get purified, we are very sadhaka bhaktas. You'll see so many things. But you understand, okay, the mode of passion is now in mode, therefore it's happening like this. Hate the sin, not the sinner. Why this person is behaving like this? These activities of passion, therefore is being like this. Or might be some background from family, he has left everything and whole family load is on him, might be that is irritating him. Very background, right? You know the story, no? A person is going in train with his 3 children and a passenger comes and sits next to him. This is a standard thing we tell in fault finding seminar in third year. And then after whole day that person sitting and sitting and sitting, he's seeing his father, 2 children, and the third is sitting, jumping here, throwing food here, there, and that father is just seeing out of the window. And they are about to get down and go. Just half an hour before that, the co-passenger tells, "Don't you know how to train your children? From last 8 hours, they're jumping here, they're shouting, yelling, screaming, throwing everything here." And that fellow is just seeing outside the window. And after seeing 8 hours outside the window, he turns towards him and tells, "What can I do? I'm just thinking, till now their mother used to take care of them. But today morning only she left body and we are burning her dead body and coming back to our actual city. I'm in that grief." And that fellow, instead of scolding him, he starts empathizing him. Activity is the same, but what is the undercurrent happening in his life, we don't know. So why that person is behaving the way he is behaving. So that is called as maturity, not just seeing from front view, not from side view, but from the top view. So before making a perception about a person, just by what we do initially when we just see, we conclude this is a devotee like this. But we have to see a devotee for years before concluding what kind of person he is. Understand? So that is meaning of not jumping to, not being judgmental, not being judgmental. Give benefit of doubt, and this is all part of being mature. Yes, true.
I can explain relatively sin and upbringing. We see, like give example, Jagai Madai. वो actually अपराध पाप करे थे, वैसे ही करे थे, लेकिन वो अपराध नहीं किए, जैसे कि इसीलिए चैतन्य महाप्रभु उनको माफ कर रहे थे। तो उधर चैतन्य नित्यानंद प्रभु वो क्या कि पत्थर मारे, तो वो तो भी अपराध में जाएगा ना।
हाँ, अपराध में था, लेकिन वो हरि स्थान अपराधी तारे हरि नाम। तो नित्यानंद प्रभु मारा उन्होंने, लेकिन नित्यानंद प्रभु ने उनको माफ किया, बिकॉज नित्यानंद प्रभु का अवतार है उसके लिए। कृपा बलोकन करो हमें बोरे दुखी, बिकॉज नित्यानंद प्रभु wanted to preach him that नित्यानंद प्रभु's magnanimity, मात के प्रेम दे दयाल निताय चैतन्य बोले ना श्री अमरमान कोड़ा निताय, that Nityanand Prabhu. So Nityanand Prabhu, that is his magnanimity. Nityanand Prabhu wanted to show to the world that if this Jagai Madai delivered, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be glorified.
Yeah, sadhaka's life. What is the scene under it?
Yes, in sadhaka's life, you take a matka, sweet rice matka after eating sweet rice or dahi, sweet, mishti dahi in Mayapur, and go and hit to some PDC code, it is aparat. Okay. That is highlighting their magnanimity of Nityananda Prabhu. The purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Nityananda Prabhu is to deliver the fallen souls of this youth. That pastime is being highlighted there. Okay. Time, place, circumstances, text and context. Text is same, but the context is different. They did not do it knowingly. They were anyway criminals, so they were becoming agitated and they hit it. But Jan booch ke karna. And I told you also, na, you may find fault, but that should be three things in the speech are there. It should be pleasing, truthful, beneficial. Even if the fault is truthful, it should be conveyed pleasingly, and it should be beneficial for that. These three conditions should fit in that. Then it will not become what? Aparadh. Otherwise, it is truthful, but you speak in such a way, we start yelling only at that person, and he doesn't accept. Then we want to go to authorities and tell. Not beneficial. Now that person is never going to accept it. Okay? We'll go next. Andam tama pravishanti ye vidyayam upasate tato bhuya tamo yavu vidyayam rataha andam tama pravishanti अविद्ययाम उपासते ततो भूयैव ते तमो यावो विद्ययाम रतः अंधं तमः प्रविशन्ति ये अविद्ययाम उपासते ततो भूयैव ते तमो यावो विद्ययाम रतः. Yes, one devotee from online and one devotee from offline. Can you sense? Mike.
उपासते
ये अविद्याम् उपासते
ततो भूया इव ते तमो यावो विद्यायां रतः
अंधं तमः प्रविशन्ति
अंधं तमः प्रविशन्ति
ये अविद्याम् उपासते
यो विद्याम् उपासते
ततो भूय इव ते तमो ययो विद्यायां रतः.
यावो विद्यायां रतः. What told meaning? and translation purport wise divine is easy Bhakti some Shlok ki Andam gross ignorance Tamaha darkness Pravishanti enter into those who Avidyam nescience Upasate worship Tataha then that Bhuya still more Eva like they Tamaha darkness those who also Vidyayam in culture of knowledge Rataha engaged. Translation. Those who engage in the culture of nescient activities shall enter into the darkest region of ignorance. Worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called knowledge. So according to commentators, Madhvacharya and then Vedanta Desikan, Baldevidyabhushan, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they, according to their timeless circumstance, what was the social situation, they've given commentary according to that. So Prabhupada has given commentary according to the present situation, 1944. So here in this shloka 9, 10, 11, it is speaking about comparison of knowledge. These three verses 9, 10, and 11 in the section flow of verses. We can try to show that PPT. So we completed the second section. We are going to the third section. Third section. Yes, section 3, comparison of knowledge. So first we had invocation mantra 1, mantra 2, mantra 3. That was section 1. Laws of God living in harmony with nature. Nature whose nature? God's nature. Second was vision of Mahabhagavat. Achintya, Atarka, Samadarshina, and then qualities as pursued by the Mahabhagavat. Transcends all faults and the object of knowledge. So now what is that knowledge? The studies which you are doing in the education, society, material knowledge, there is knowledge, material knowledge in Vedic literature, there is material knowledge in non-Vedic literature, that is our modern education societies, and there is knowledge in Vedic literature, spiritual knowledge. There are three sections. So knowledge, materialistic knowledge in non-Vedic literature, materialistic knowledge in Vedic literature, and spiritual knowledge in Vedic literature. Spiritual knowledge in Vedic literature is called as Vidya. Material knowledge in Vedic literature is called as Avidya. And material knowledge in non-Vedic literature is called as Avidya. So this is the three things you should understand. You understood these three things? Three definitions. Materialistic knowledge in non-Vedic literature, which are not in Vedas, which is recently popped up. Materialistic knowledge in Vedas, because Vedas are like desire tree, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda. So there is material knowledge in Karma Kanda also. Karma Yoga is there. Karma Yoga, it becomes spiritual. Karma Kanda. And then spiritual knowledge in the Vedic literature. This is a very important concept which will remove another layer of curtain. We have covered 2 layers of curtain now. This is the third layer of curtain, which is many times misunderstood. Many times devotees tell, कितना बच्चों को इतना ट्रेन करोगे जेल में डाल के, भक्ति के लिए थोड़ा भुक्ति भी जानना चाहिए. विश्वभूषण बोलता है ना, विद्ययाम च यस्तद् वेदो वयं सः अविद्यां मृत्युं तीर्त्वा विद्याम् अमृतम् अश्नुते. That Rishyashringa was there, he was kept by his Vibhandaka Rishi without giving any knowledge of materialistic knowledge. That only kept him binded without eliminating all opposite sex from his 8 miles surrounding of his ashram. And therefore Vibhandaka Rishi fell down. That is how people say. That is how one I was giving Bhakti Shastri 3 years back, one conversion bash. Rest the counselor was attending, like bashment only. He told, we heard that Vidya means we should be also give expose them to little certification so that they can take up Bhakti very seriously. That is not that he is congregation counselor. I'm telling 3 years back when he told, when he heard this commentators of, when I told him what Prabhupada is trying to mention here, I'm not Baldev Vidyabhushan or Vedanta Desikan or Madhvacharya is trying to tell. 3 avidya is materialistic knowledge outside Vedic literature. Avidya refers to materialistic knowledge in Vedic literature, and Vidya refers to spiritual knowledge in the Vedic literature. If you understood these 3 definitions, Mantra 9 speaks about avidya leads to greater darkness. Okay? Avidya leads to darkness, and misguided vidya leads to greater darkness. What is this avidya and misguided vidya? Again, I will define now. Materialistic knowledge outside Vedic literature is avidya. Do you have any issue giving up study, job, and coming to his ashram? But materialistic knowledge in Vedic literature is misguided vidya. If it takes us away from Krishna. Clear na? Ved में ही है material knowledge, but it is called as misguided vidya if it is leading us to Mayavadi, or if it is telling us to go to heavenly planets. Vedavada rata umsa. कर्म कांड करके जो हेवन में जाके पुष्पितम योगा त्रैगुण्य विषय वेदा निस्त्रैगुण्य भवार्जुना, that is misguided vidya in mantra 9. You understood this na? So what initially defined as materialistic knowledge, material world, materialistic knowledge in the Vedic literature, spiritual knowledge in the Vedic literature. Spiritual knowledge is vidya, materialistic knowledge in the Vedic literature, which is towards heavenly planet or towards merging into Brahman, that is Mayavad, that is misguided vidya. That is misguided vidya. This which I defined earlier as avidya. That is nothing but misguided vidya is also known as avidya. Confused हो गए? Brahman नहीं, Mayavad. Mayavad.
Knowledge is Vidya.
I'll come to it. Merging into Brahman in Mayavad. Mayavad के मैं बता रहा हूँ. The knowledge which is in Vedic literature, which is twist and turn to become Mayavadi, that is misguided vidya. Not devotee. Everyone. There are 2 things. Brahmavad, Mayavad. Brahmavadis, they are not Krishna Paradis, 4 Kumaras. They are Gyanis. But Mayavadis, they are Krishna Paradis. They say that Maya is greater than Krishna. And therefore we are God, we have become come under Maya. And therefore we become Jivatma. If you have realized that we are God, we will become liberated from Maya. So how can God succumb to Maya? So Maya is greater than God. Yes, they are Mayavadis. They are advocates of Maya. Therefore they are called as Mayavadis. That Maya is greater than Brahman. But Brahmavadis are not like that. Brahmavadis are different. Brahmeti. Their goal is what? Brahmeti. That is Jnana Marg. Okay? In this 9th mantra, materialistic knowledge is called as avidya, and that knowledge of Vedic literature which takes us to heaven, and that knowledge of the Vedic literature which takes us to Mayavad is misguided vidya or so-called vidya. Okay? We'll come back to next flow. after this mantra, because if I start telling much more now, it will become more confusing to all of you. We'll go to Prabhupada purport and analyze this mantra and come back to that mantra. Hope online devotees are okay. Yes. So once we enter into Prabhupada purport, it will become very clear now. पहला दिन है ना आज, इसलिए आप लड्डू फूट रहे आपके चेहरे में, इसका बहुत फाउंडेशन गया है। अब तक वो लोग कितने 3x4 फ्राइडे सैटरडे संडे मंडे ट्यूसडे ट्यूसडे, अभी तक उनका 14 घंटा सुन चुके हो लोग, और आप बैठे हो अभी। अब समझने का प्रयास करो क्या चल रहा है। Yeah, we have done this word meaning, right? Translation: those who engage in the culture of Nisant activities, those who engage in the culture of Nisant activities, ये भी हो गया ना? Yes. Those who engage in the culture of Nisant activities shall enter into darkest region of ignorance. Worse still are those who engage in the culture of so-called knowledge. So-called knowledge, misguided knowledge is a same. Two things are being mentioned here: avidya and yahu vidya. If you see the translation, if you see the verse, see here the second line, andam tama pravishanti, they go into darkest of ignorance. Mantra 3, Asuriya namate loka andena tamasavrata, that is there, killer of the own soul, right? So what is same tama? It is referring to same tama, destination of mantra 3. What? Those who culture only avidya. Here dash is mentioning विद्या के सामने डैश आने से संस्कृत में लिटरिक्स में अविद्यायाम उपासते, दे ओनली वर्शिप विद्या और अविद्या. Avidya worshippers are modern propagandist and modern educationist, devoid of knowledge of soul. Avidyayam upasate. They go to dark region. And what is another category? Tato bhuya yuvate tamo. There is another category which go even more darker region. What is that? Ya. U means so-called. Vidyayam rataha. This U, prefix U refers to so-called Vidya or misguided Vidya. So let's see what Prabhupada has to tell about it. So now just focus on these two, Avidya and Uvidya. Avidya and Uvidya. Avidya is ignorance or ignorance, and Uvidya is so-called knowledge. Yes. So translation is, Nisant activities go into dark hell, and those who are engaged in so-called knowledge, they go in even darker region. So now, Prabhupada is going to speak about avidya in the first paragraph. What is Prabhupada going to speak about? Modern education system without spiritual aspect is avidya. Okay? We will start reading now. This is what Prabhupada speaks in the first paragraph. Education based only on material advancement without spiritual aspect has made people unhappy than even before. What this vidya is? Material knowledge. Avidya, modern materialistic knowledge. Because Prabhupada gave this purport 70 years before. So-called advancement of education is more dangerous than less education. Again, what Prabhupada is trying to tell here is, those who are being educated, they know how to hack online money. But a person who is uneducated and is working in the farm, he will not do such a blunder. That is actually, it's the same modern education system. Okay? They're becoming a software engineer and they become big hackers. And they're doing crimes, cyber crimes. But person is not educated. What he will do? He will go and steal some small fruits, vegetables, and maximum he'll get some one piece of gold or something like that. But the people, lakho, 10, 6, 7 digits, 8 digits, they are hacking. So therefore, so-called advancement of education is much more dangerous than less education. This is also what modern materialistic knowledge. First two paragraph. Third paragraph. Those who engage in culture of nescience activity shall enter into the darkest region of ignorance. This is also speaking to about people who are trying to gain materialistic knowledge, divide of soul. Okay, from non-Vedic literature, avidya. This is also vidya. Now, Prabhupada starts introducing so-called vidya. Dushkritinas, 7.15. In that there are Muda, Naradama, Asuram Bhava Ashrayata, Atmaya Parta, Jnana. The Muda is gross materialist, Muda. And then there is Naradama, lowest among mankind. These two category are Avidya category. And then there is Maya Aparta Jnana and Asuram Bhava Ashrita. Maya Aparta Jnana is who wants to, Prabhupada briefly categorizing him, the person who is after sense gratification, he takes Vedic literature for sense gratification. And Asuram Bhava Ashrita means those living entities like Shushupal and everybody wanted to kill Krishna. The destination was merging into impersonal Brahman. So those Mayavadis who defy Krishna, who insult Krishna, and who want to become one with Krishna, they are Asuram Bhava Ashrita. So three categories. Gross mundane, gross materialist, Muda, Naradama, they are in the Avidya category, materialistic, non-Vedic knowledge, and Maya Apartagyana and Asuram Bhava Ashrita are materialistic knowledge in Vedic literature. One wants to go to heaven, another wants to merge. One is Karma Kandi, another is Mayavadi. This is so-called knowledge. They are referring Vedic literature, but the goal is not Krishna. Our goal is not even Brahman, because when Brahman people can approach Krishna, like Kumaras, they approach Krishna and they became devotees. Sukadeva Goswami, he was a Brahmavadi, but he approached Krishna, he's become a devotee. But Mayavadis, they insult Krishna or they offend Krishna. You understand the difference? Ashok, okay? Yes. So now Prabhupada speaks next here, his categories. Worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called knowledge. Now Prabhupada speaks about that two categories, which he quoted 7.15, Muda, Naradama, Asuram Bhava Ashrita, Maya Apartagyana. So Maya Apartagyana, Prabhupada is not hinting anywhere directly this one, but if you closely read, you can understand or map this one. See there, according to Bhagavad Gita 2.42, 7.15, mistaken mundane educators are known as Vedavadarata and Maya Aparta Jnana. Okay? He's quoting that. But if you read more Prabhupada purports, read Bhagavad Gita, read Bhagavatam, read commentaries, you can understand what Prabhupada is trying to mention here is first two categories gross materialist, avidya. But the second two categories so-called misguided knowledge. So he's trying to tell one category is of Vedavada Rata. Those who do Karma Kanda to go to heaven. And second is Mayavadis. Okay? Ultimate purpose of all Vedic religion is to bring one back to Godhead. So what Vedavada Rathas do here? They distort the actual purpose of Vedas, disregard the chain of disciplic succession to secure a position in much more darkest region of ignorance. So in this category, Prabhupada brings Asuram Bhava Ashrita and Maya Pratyajnana, both of them he clubs here. Whether the goal is Mayavadi, goal is Svarga, both of them they distort the religion according to their own thought process. So therefore, he concludes with this: Maya Pratigana, self-made gods, have no tattva other than their false satisfaction of having becoming God. So this is how the purport is divided. Any confusion? No confusion. Avidya, so-called Vidya. Yes, Sumashankar Prabhu.
Prajit, just one little clarification that categorization what you told about this four type of people. So this Maya Apahata Jnana, are they referring to the karma kandis?
Yes.
Okay. And this Asuram Bhava Masrita is the Mayavadis whose
Yes.
ultimate destination is one of the like Brahma Jyoti, which even the demons also get.
They are ultimately not Brahma Jyoti.
No, not Brahma Jyoti, merging in.
No, they don't merge also. They want to merge, but they don't go to Brahman. They go to hell because they are Krishna Paradi.
It's
Now,
their
now there is a clarity, there is thin line. What? The difference between Mayavadi and Brahmavadi. Brahmavadis go to Brahma Jyoti. Mayavadis don't go to Brahma Jyoti. Yes.
Although they are aiming for that.
Aiming for that, but they are offending Krishna. Because of their offense to Krishna, this comes in Adi Leela, Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you read that 5th and 6th chapter, Prabhupada clearly mentions there. Mayavadis, because of their offense, they go to hell. But Jnanis, they do go to Brahma Jyoti. So therefore, this is called as darkest region of ignorance. See, if somebody does materialistic activities, sin, he will go to hell and again come back and take a human body. But somebody who is criticizing Krishna or somebody like that, they go to even darkest region of ignorance. Understand? So somebody may want to go to heaven and enjoy and come back. They may go heaven and enjoy, they'll finish there. But somebody is doing sinful activity here only. He will complete it and take birth back again. But somebody goes up. So therefore, that tendency of criticizing Krishna for going to heaven, tendency of criticizing Krishna for going to Brahman, that is mentioned. When somebody wants to ascend to heaven and ascend to Brahma Jyoti while criticizing Krishna, that is categorized as avidya or avuvidya or so-called misguided vidya. The destination is not that, they go to hellish condition, both of them.
Yes.
Little more clear link. I think because the confusion is coming up, why? Because they are not able to differentiate. Although Mayavadis and Brahmavadis are aiming for Brahman, but what is their mood and what is their process? That's why there is a confusion, I suppose.
That confusion will be cleared in Adi Leela Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can read that. All of you can read whenever you have time. Adi Leela Chaitanya Charitamrita, 4th, 5th, 6th chapter. Prabhupada purports very clearly mentioned. Discussion between Prakash and Saraswati and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Device 2, device 3, everything is covered there. 4 defects, their original names. 4, 5, 6. Okay, we'll go to the purport now. Yes, online duty. Yes, Umasha Kapoor, continue, start the purport. But others not clear. Read.
Education based only on material advancement without spiritual aspect has made people unhappy than ever before. This mantra offers a comparative study of Vidya and Avidya. Avidya or ignorance is undoubtedly dangerous, but Vidya or knowledge is even more dangerous than when mistaken or misguided. This mantra of Sri Isopanishad is more applicable today than at any time in the past. Modern civilization has advanced considerably in the field of mass education, but the result is that people are more unhappy than ever before because of the stress placed on material advancement to the exclusion of the most important part of life, the spiritual aspect.
Yes. So in this first paragraph, Prabhupada is criticizing both avidya and misguided vidya, because both are divide of Krishna consciousness. 3 categories of things. कंफ्यूजन हो रहा है तो बताइए, नहीं है तो ऐसा मत देखते बेटे. 3 टाइप ऑफ नॉलेज है. बॉडीली नॉलेज विच साइंटिफिक एडवांसमेंट, बॉडी नॉलेज हर criticizing God and getting happiness by merging into Brahman or ascending to heaven in Vedic. That is so-called knowledge. And pure bhakti, that is Vidya. So Prabhupada is criticizing both things here. That modern civilization has advanced considerably in the field of mass education, but the result is that people are most unhappy than ever before because of the stress placed on material advancement, leaving aside the spiritual aspect or the soul. This is very clearly what it is, avidya. And avidya has two categories, avidya and so-called vidya. Yes, somebody from offline can read.
So-called advancement of education is more dangerous than less education. As far as Vidya is concerned, this first mantra has explained very clearly that Supreme Lord is the proprietor of everything and that forgetfulness of this fact is ignorance. The
What
more a
is
man
Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam, that is vidya. And somebody doesn't accept it, accept some demigod worshipper or something else, that is avidya, less than that. Thinking, claiming demigod to be same as Lord Vishnu, that is also avidya. And trying to deny Krishna's existence and trying to become one as Maya, that is also avidya. Yes.
The more a man forgets this fact of life, the more he is in darkness. In view of this, a godless civilization directed toward the so-called advancement of education is more dangerous than a civilization in which the masses of people are less educated.
Yes. Basically, that only. By education is making us perverted genius, terrorists, hackers. So therefore, it's better to bless it because education is meant for formation of character. That you'll see in the next shloka. And what is the definition of Vidya? That will define in the 10th mantra. But purpose of Vidya is character. But here, this Vidya is not used character. But on the other hand, it is making us exploiter. That is the problem. Yes, next.
Here Prabhupada writes like education, advancement of education is more dangerous than a civilization in which the masses are less educated.
Yeah.
So these less educated, they are as good as Shudras.
Less educated means even in modern education, those are educated, everybody Shudra. But on the other hand, those are less educated, they are Vaishyas because they are doing farming and crop production. They are not sending the cows to the slaughterhouses. So in that way, they are much more higher Varna than the educated people. Okay. Yes, those who engage.
Those who engage in the culture of misceast activities shall enter into the darkest region of ignorance. Of the different classes of men, karmis, jnanis, and yogis, the karmis are those who are engaged in the activities of sense gratification. In the modern civilization, 99.9% of the people are engaged in the activities of sense gratification under the flags of industrialism, economic development, altruism, political activism, and so on. All these activities are more or less based on satisfaction of the senses to the exclusion of the kind of God consciousness described in the first one.
So what is first this paragraph telling is sense gratification is the only religion. That is avidya. Those who are in bodily conscious of life, animalistic, they will anyway go to darkest region, that is animalistic body. Yeah.
In the language of Bhagavad Gita 7.15, people who are engaged in gross sense gratification are mudas, asses. The ass is a symbol of stupidity. Those who simply engage in the profitless pursuit of sense gratification are worshipping avidya.
So now what Prabhupada is quoting here is quoting 7.15, but of the 4 categories, quoting only one category. What is that? Muda. Muda are what? Gross materialist. Okay. 7.15 is quoting only gross materialist. Therefore, this avidya is referring to bodily sense gratification. Will give us animalistic body in the next life. That is the meaning of darkest region of ignorance is what? Neha vikrama nashosti prattavayo na vidyate swarpam upyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. That trayate mahato bhayat is the darkest region of ignorance according to Shruti mantra. What Shruti mantra is saying darkest region of ignorance is reflected in the Smriti mantra of Bhagavad Gita as Trayate Mahato Bhayat. What is that? Animalistic life in the next term after giving up this body. Yes. So these people get animalistic body in the next life. That is Muda category. This is avidya. The destination is animalistic life. Yes, sir.
Guruji, I'll ask again. And those who play the role of helping this sort of civilization in the name of educational advancement are actually doing more harm than those who are on the platform of gross gratification.
So basically, what Prabhupada is trying to approach here is he is divided this two categories: Vedic, non-Vedic. Now he is focusing on non-Vedic, present scenario. Present scenario, there are followers and there are leaders. So followers are just following the leaders. The blind leading the blind, both falling into which? Lobi Guru, Lalchi Chela, Donakma, Narak mein, Telam Tela. Or that one Guru is asking, one disciple asking to the Guru, this Ajgar is being bitten by so many scorpions, ants, and all those things. What has this Ajgar done in his previous life that it is suffering so much? The Guru replies, this Ajgar was a Guru, so-called Guru, and these ants and scorpions and insects which are biting him were their disciples. He cheated them, and now they are trying to bite him and take the revenge. So, Vedic, non-Vedic. Non-Vedic, all the citizens of the state, they are followers. Politicians are the entrepreneurs, are the consumers who are having the money, trying to build big education institute. They can change the whole world. Shreshtas, they are leaders. So Prabhupada is trying to tell about here non-Vedic followers and non-Vedic Shreshtas. The gross materialist, because they are completing sense gratification, is giving a modern scenario. अभी कोई नहीं, कोई वेदा को follow नहीं, nobody is following Vedas. So in the modern scenario, their general masses, they go to schools, colleges, they eat beef, they go and they have co-education, they have free mixing. But those who are in the guiding role of owner of the state or leader of the states, they should do something for the citizen, but they are not doing. So they will go to much more deeper, darker region of ignorance. Understand, no? Like that Ajgar being bitten by the, like king gets 1/6 of the reaction of everyone. You know this, na? Manu Samhita says anybody who becomes a leader, he gets the 1/6 sinful reaction of all the citizens. So that point is what Prabhupada is trying to make here, that they go to much more deeper region of ignorance compared to the followers. Yeah, continue.
The advancement of learning by godless people is as dangerous as valuable jewel on the hood of a cobra. A cobra decorated with a valuable gel is more dangerous than one not decorated. In the Haribhakti Sudhadhyaya 3.11.12, the advancement of education by godless people is compared to decoration on a dead body. In India, as in many other countries, some people follow the custom of leading a procession with a decorated dead body for the pleasure of the lamenting relatives. In the same way, modern civilization is a patchwork of activities meant to cover the perpetual miseries of material existence. All such activities are aimed towards sense gratification, but above the senses is the mind, and above the mind is intelligence, and above the intelligence is the soul. Thus, the aim of real education should be self-realization, realization of the spiritual values of the soul. And any education which does not lead to such realization must be considered avidya or nescience. And to culture such nescience means to go down to the darkest region of ignorance.
Yes. So Prabhupada the Acharya is giving one purport to the mantra, only materialistic followers, materialistic leaders, or anything which is devoid of soul concept, that is avidya. This is devoid of soul concept. Modern society is devoid of soul concept. But there is another civilization who accept soul and they think they will go to heaven or they will merge into Brahman. They understand soul, but still they will not become successful. On the other hand, they go to even darker region of ignorance because of neglecting Krishna, because of offending Krishna. So they are like so-called Vidya. They know soul, but they use the knowledge of Vedic literature for their means, disregarding the proprietorship of Isha. What the sin? Definition of sin is deliberate disobedience to the will of God disregarding his proprietorship. So what has happened is not only in Kali Yuga but in all the ages, there are all sects of people. Mimamsakas, Patanjalis, Uttar Mimamsa, Dakshin Mimamsa, and Kanadas, and then there are different Jainini. So they are all atheists. So therefore, Shruti Mantra is speaking from the dawn of creation that such people will exist. But in those times, the commentaries were different. But the way Prabhupada is giving commentary is that he's giving commentary relevant to this our generation. So so-called followers who are grossly materialistic, they are avidya, and those who are guiding them, they are so-called vidya people who are PhDs, suit food, but they eat beef and they invent machine for killing slaughterhouses. So this is broadly categorized as avidya, which is devoid of soul. Now next category. What is that? So-called vidya. Now next part. Yes. What still are those?
So I ask you a question, please. So, as far as Mayavadis is concerned, their philosophical understanding, although they may know the presence of soul, but the philosophical understanding of them about the, about what is Brahman, or of their understanding of when Brahman comes as, when Brahman takes a form, he takes a materialistic form, that is how they offend Krishna. So their entire philosophical understanding, the science of spirituality is wrong.
Yes.
As for Brahman,
School of philosophy.
philosophy is wrong. Then as far as this Brahmavadis are concerned, although they have that understanding, although that might not be complete understanding that there is Bhagavan feature of the Lord which is higher than Brahman, but they accept the fact that Brahman is there, and when Brahman takes the form, like Lord Krishna, Rama, or any avatars, that Brahman when he takes form is as good as Brahman, like what their understanding is. And then it's not that the Brahman takes a materialistic word. But their understanding is not complete because that is their understanding. So those when these people, this category of people who understand the presence of soul, who are followers of Vedic literature, but still aim at higher planet systems or siddhis and all. What is wrong with their understanding? Is it wrong with understanding? Because see, when someone understands, even in any case of whether it is Brahmavadi or Mayavadi, in both the cases they understand the eternity of soul, but because they are offensive to the Lord, that's why they go to him.
Yes.
And Brahmavadis, they know the soul, but their goal is not the highest. Now, as far as these people who follow the Vedic Padhati, Vedic the karma kind of principles, because they know the presence of soul, then how do they not know that whether they go to heavenly planets which they are aiming for, or whether they achieve yogic siddhis which they may be aiming for, are
So here Veda,
temporary. So how do they not agree, or how do they not come across the fact that what they are trying for is not eternal, having known the fact that soul is eternal?
yes. Kamasya rita jnana prapadyante anna devata. It's kama. Agree. Like he was asking, na, it's so clear. Fourth verse, Krishna is so clearly mentioned. Why persons have difficulty? So simple answer is because of their attachment. Like Pururava, Vishnu came to him and he told, I want to meet Gurush once in a month. But later on, because he got Vishnu Darshan and Yajna started happening, then there is Haila Gita coming in 11th canto. It's basically because of Kama. His desire was to meet Urvashi, that is heavenly damsel, not Vishnu. So that is how Karma Kanda scriptures, if you see carefully, Parishit Maharaj is sitting in some place and is hiding from some serpent. That is how Karma Kanda sections glorify karma more than devotion. There are many things like there is some butcher who's doing his activity of butcher. He is doing karma nicely, and therefore he is in a position to instruct even a sannyasi also. So yes, na? So all these pastimes are these stories come from the karma kind section which glorify karma more than daiva or karma more than Bhagavan himself. So Vedic literature like treasure house. I told you na, the first standard to 10th standard. First standard English is different from 10th standard English or degree English or honors English. Similarly, the Vedic literature in the initial of karma kanda is different from the Vedic literature which glorifies Uttam Bhakti in the form of Bhagavatam. So we are in that Uttam Bhagavat level, are trying to taste it by the mercy of Prabhupada, So therefore, how can these small children can't understand a plus a? They, a plus b they don't understand, but a b c d they can form. First and should not understand the a plus b is equal to c. They think what is this? Mathematics we know one plus one is that we know, but a plus b can never exist for them. Understand? Yes. Second part, so-called Vidya. Yes.
Worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called knowledge.
So till now, Prabhupada has described a Vidya, divide of soul. Now Prabhupada is going to describe, is going to quote the same 7.15 and quote about Vedavadarata and impersonalism. Last is going to hint about it in the last part, not it is going to hint on this Vedavadarata like anything. Yes, read.
Vedavada, posing themselves as very learned in the Vedas, are completely diverted from the purpose of the Veda. According to Bhagavad Gita 2.42.7.15, mistaken mundane educators are known as Vedavada and Maya Aparata Jnana. They may also be artistic demons, the lowest of men. Those who are Vedavada pose themselves as very learned in the Vedic literature. But unfortunately, they are completely diverted from the purpose of Vedas. Bhagavad Gita 15.15, it is said that the purpose of Vedas is to know the personality of God. But these Vedavada men are not at all interested in personality of God. On the contrary, they are fascinated by such fruity results as the attainment of heaven.
So, because of their kama, is very clear. Because of their lust, they can't appreciate God, but they want short benefit, Shreya. Yes.
The ultimate purpose of all religions is to bring one back to Godhead. As stated in Mantra 1, one should know that the personality of Godhead is the proprietor of everything and that we must be satisfied with our allotted portions of the necessities of life. The purpose of all Vedic literatures is to awaken this God consciousness in the forgetful living being, and this same purpose is presented in various ways in the different scriptures of the world for understanding of foolish mankind. Thus, the ultimate purpose of all religions is to bring one back to Godhead.
Yes. Basically, the purpose of Vedic literature is, or any religions, to bring us back home, back to that is the highest. From that highest purpose, anything less than that is called as so-called Vidya. Yes. Question? No. We'll complete this purpose, then we'll come. Yeah.
But the way with
Vedavadarta distort the actual purpose of the Vedas and disregard the chain of disciplic succession to secure a position much more darkest of ignorance. Many times when people come and want to become brahmacharis or become devotees or become grihasthas, many times they say, अरे आपने कुल देवत को छोड़ दे रहे हो, भगवान को लग दिया, जो कुल का जो है जो धर्म है उसको छोड़ रहे हो और भगवान कुछ तो कृष्ण को मान रहे हो, ये कर रहे हो, वो कर रहे हो. Many things, many opposition comes, when you practice all these things. So that why they do that? They manipulate so that they can control you. Yes, please read.
such people misguide others by misinterpreting the Vedic
But
literature.
the Vedavadarata,
But the Vedavada people, instead of realizing the purpose of the Vedas, purpose of the Vedas is to receive the
आपके पास है ना? पढ़ना. हाँ.
But the Vedavada people, instead of realizing that the purpose of Veda is to revive the forgetful lost soul relationship with
Forgetful souls.
Lost relationship with personality of Godhead. Take it for granted that such side issues as the attainment of heavenly pleasures for self gratification, the lust for which causes the material bondage in the first place, are the ultimate end of the Vedas.
Prabhupada is telling here, lust for which causes the material bondage in the first place are the ultimate end of the Vedas. Their goal of Veda is lust. Yes.
Such people misguide others by misinterpreting the Vedic literature.
Such people
Such people misguide others by misinterpreting the Vedic literature.
Yes.
Sometimes they even condemn the Puranas, which are authentic Vedic explanations for laymen. The Vedaratas give their own explanation of the Vedas, neglecting the authority of great teacher Acharyas. They also tend to write some unscrupulous person from among themselves and present him as the leader exponent of Vedic knowledge. Such Vedvadaratas are especially condemned in mantra by especially condemned in this mantra by the very appropriate Sanskrit words Vidyamrata Vidya refers to study of Vedas because the Vedas are the origin of all knowledge, Vidya, and Rata means those engaged. Vidyamrata thus means those engaged in the study of Vedas. The so-called students of the Vedas are condemned here because they are ignorant of of the actual purpose of the Vedas on the account of their disobeying the Acharyas. Such Vedvadaratas search out meaning in every word of the Vedas to suit their own purpose. They do not know that Vedic literature is a collection of extraordinary books that can be understood only through the chain of disciplic succession. One must approach a bona fide spiritual master in order to understand the transcendental message of the Vedas. This is the direction of Mukunda Upanishad, Mundak Upanishad 1.2.12. Vedvadarta people, however, have their own acharyas who are not in the chain of transcendental succession. Thus, they progress into the darkest region of ignorance by misinterpreting the Vedic literature. They fall even further into the ignorance than those who have no knowledge of the Vedas at all.
Like there is impersonalism, Jnanis, their goal is bona fide, we are going to Brahman. Similarly, there is karma kand, or people who want to go to heaven. But those who don't follow the Vedic tradition or Vedic way of approaching demigod, or who try to invent a modern version and try to defy the Vedic scriptures to suit, basically manipulators of karma kanda scripture, manipulators of the Jnana kanda, the manipulators, their goal is hellish condition. Because manipulating Veda is not from Krishna. Vedas is where such manipulation, which Vedas, the goal of Vedas is Krishna, they're manipulating it. Therefore, as a result of punishment, they have to go to much more darker region of ignorance because some king is responsible. He gets 1/6 reaction. Similarly, these people who are supposed to give knowledge and guide others, but what they are doing is they understand some Vedic knowledge and they try to use that Vedic knowledge to defeat the purpose of Vedic knowledge. Imagine devotees are there and devotees will start fighting among themselves. With some misunderstanding of one devotee, he starts killing all other devotees. Purpose is lost. It's like that. You are part of a Vedic tradition, and instead of using Vedic knowledge to glorify Krishna, you're using that same knowledge to defy Krishna or offend Krishna. So it is like how much responsibility. With responsibility comes facility, but that facility they're utilizing, but they're not fulfilling the responsibility, and that is the reason they have to suffer. Yes. Last part. So this is regarding those who are after lust, because of driven by lust, they manipulate the scripture, defy Krishna, and they think that lust enjoyment is the goal of life.
They are karma kandis or mayavadis?
But he did say that this karma kandis, those were followers of Vedas, like karma kanda shiksha. They go to the higher planets. But they
So
don't.
therefore, two categories are there: in Karma Kanda and in Jnana Kanda. Jnana Kanda, those aspire for Brahma Jyoti traditionally, they are not offenders of Krishna. Even in Karma Kanda, those who aspire for Krishna, aspire for the upper planets traditionally, they go to heaven, but the heaven is also darkest region. One definition of Ishopanishad is, it will come in the next mantra, it will come in the Sambhuti. Avidyamcha, Vidyamcha, Yastad Vedovamsa. Now we are discussing about the shloka is what? Andam tama pravishanti ye avidyam upaste. There's another shloka which comes, Antam tama pravishanti ye asambhutim upasate. Tato bhuya yuvate tamo yahu sambhutyam pratah. So here Prabhupada is taking the knowledge aspect of the Vedic literature. The worship aspect of the Vedic literature, Prabhupada is bringing Sambhuti. Their demigod worships will be shown. Okay?
Mayavadis are different and these Karmakandis are different.
Yes, obviously. Therefore, they are told as Vedavadartha. Last, Mayartha.
Maya Aprita Jnana, self-made gods have no tattva other than their false satisfaction on having become God. The Maya Aprita Jnana class of men are self-made gods. Such men think that they themselves are God and that there is no need of worshipping any other God. They will agree to worship an ordinary man if he happens to be rich, but they will never worship the personality of Godhead. Such men unable to recognize their own his own illusory energy. If God were ever entrapped by Maya, Maya would be more powerful than God. Such men say that God is all powerful, but they do not consider that if He is all powerful, there is no possibility of His being overpowered by Maya. These self made gods cannot answer all these questions very clearly. They are simply satisfied to have become gods themselves.
So when we see this proper purport of this Vidya Vidya, we have to see the prevalent of organization of spirituality which you don't have base as Vedic literature. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. And now you can see in India or all over the world, it's a supermarket of spiritual organization. And India is the mother of that. And this comes in fourth canto of Bhagavatam, 20th chapter. Indra disguising in various ways to stop the yajna of Prutu. And there Prabhupada writes, this is how the defunct organization started. People wearing this, all the tilaks which you see now, Indra was the originator of that parampara. The origin of that parampara was lust for the throne. So what will happen to the destination of such organizations? So Prabhupada basically is categorizing all other spiritual organization divide of Krishna Bhakti under the category of so-called Vidya. And therefore, when he's speaking, he's not clearly telling his organization name. He's describing those organizations' characteristics. You see carefully, they are unable to recognize, they are self-made gods, they don't have worshipping God, they disregard the acharyas, and they choose somebody from themselves as acharyas and defy the Vedic scriptures. So you have to carefully understand which organization this is coming. And apart from traditional Vaishnava organizations, 99.99% organizations are in this category. And therefore, those organizations which promise spirituality but the goal is not Krishna, that is so called Vidya or misguided Vidya. And Prabhupada is mainly utilizing for this mantra of Bhagavad Gita 7.15 Muda, Naradama, Avidya category, Maya Parta Jnana and Asuram Bhava Ashrita in the category of Mayavadis. Basically, Asuram Bhava Ashrita is not indirectly indicated, but is indicated there only, lowest of the demons. In the translation only it is indicated. But this category as so-called Vidya category. So don't try to confuse with too much about are they karma kandas, are they what they are. Basically, the modern cocktail of impersonalism, which is broadly called as Mayavadi. It is basically indicating that. Or anything which is defying Krishna's conclusions. That is this category of so-called Vidya. So we'll give a pause here now and we'll meet. Hope online devotees it's not confusing. We'll meet after 10 minutes, 12:23, 12:33. अविद्यामुपासते ततो भूयैव ते तमो यावो विद्ययामृतः. Conclusion: gross materialist like Moodas, Naradharmas, they are avidya category, and those intelligence which is stolen by Maya and who are distorting the Vedic literature, their name is Maya Aparta Jnana. They are of two category, Vedavadarata and Mayavadis. So they are in the category of misguided knowledge. And 99.99% of the so-called organizations, they come under this category. Either they are worshipping some so-called demigods and trying to defy Krishna, or they are trying to tell so-called impersonal conception and trying to defy Krishna. Any mission you take, I'm not taking the names, but all falls in this category. They are going to still more dark region of ignorance because they have a chance to practice bhakti, but instead of practicing bhakti to Krishna, they are practicing something else. Therefore, they are at higher risk. They are thinking they are practicing spirituality, but they are cheating. They are not practicing. So now that is what mantra 9 spoke about. What mantra 10 is going to speak about? Mantra 10 is going to speak about. Now, mantra 9 spoke about what? Mantra 9 is speaking about avidya only. Material avidya and Vedic are misguided avidya. So mantra 9 speaks about two types of avidya: gross avidya and misguided vidya. Clear, na? Or no? Gross avidya are so-called vidya, or misguided vidya. So mantra 9 is speaking about avidya. Simple flow में mantra 9 speaks about two types of avidya: avidya, misguided vidya. Mantra 10 speaks about vidya and avidya. Vidya and avidya. So avidya in mantra 10 is referring to two kinds of avidya in mantra 9. Understood ना? मंत्रा 9 में जो अविद्या और misguided vidya, so called vidya, is put under the heading of avidya in mantra 10. And the vidya which is making spoken in mantra 10 is Krishna consciousness. Okay? Fine, na? Now we'll start. Those are not there, they will again come and ask some question. What told you? What is this? What is this? But they are late. Therefore, they'll miss it. अन्यद् एवाहुर्विद्यया अन्यद् आहुरविद्यया इति शुश्रुमदीराणाम् येनस्तद्विचक्षिरे अन्यद् एवाहुर्विद्यया अन्यद् आहुरविद्यया इति शुश्रुमदीराणाम् येनस्तद्विचक्षिरे अन्यद् एवाहुर्विद्यया अन्यद् आहुरविद्यया इति शुश्रुमदीराणाम् येनस्तद्विचक्षिरे. Yes, one devotee from online, one from offline. अन्यदेवाहुर्विद्यया अन्यदाहुरविद्यया इति शुश्रुमदीराणाम् येनस्तद्विचक्षिरे
अन्यत् एवाहुर्विद्यया
अन्यदेवाहुर्विद्यया
नयत् आहुरविद्यया
अन्यदाहुरविद्यया
इति शुश्रुमधीराणाम्
इति शुश्रुमदीराणाम्
येनस्तद्विचक्षिरे
Word meaning. So I was just telling in mantra 9 grossly spoke about two kinds of avidya, gross avidya, materialistic avidya, knowledge, and distorted Vedic knowledge or avidya, misguided vidya or so-called vidya. So in mantra 9, what is categorized as two types of avidya and so-called vidya is grouped under one part called as avidya in mantra 10. And the vidya in mantra 10 is referring to Krishna conscious practice. Very simple. So therefore, what the Shruti mantra is telling, what Dadyan is learning from his father Atharvana, Atharvana is saying to his son Dadyan, that one result is achieved by culture of knowledge, going back to body. Moksha, mukti. Another destination is achieved by those who are practicing avidya. They get entangled in the bondage, cycle of birth and death. Basically, the whole material universe is dark and the spiritual universe is bright. So by vidya, we can go to spiritual universe. But by avidya, we get stuck up in the material universe itself. And therefore it's called as darkest region of ignorance, bodily conception of life. So the wise have explained word to word meaning, right? Anyat, different. Eva, certainly. Ahu, said. Vidyaya, the culture of knowledge. Anyat, different. Ahu, said. Avidya, the culture of nescience. Iti, thus. Shushuma, I heard. Tirana, from the sober. Who, na, to us. Tat, that. Vichachakshire, so I heard from bona fide authority. Iti Shushuma Dhirana. I'm hearing it is not that I've just popped up in my mind and I'm thinking something like the so-called Vedavada and Maya Partagyanas people open the organization. It pops up from their own brain and they start making rules and regulations and start writing scriptures and start opening the organization to cheat people. They don't know that they're cheating, but they're actually cheating according to Upanishad. So the wise have explained that one result is derived from the culture of knowledge and that different result is achieved by culture of nescience. So what is nescience mentioned here is gross materialistic knowledge and Vedic distorted, misguided so-called knowledge is avidya. Because by following all this, by mantra 9 followers, they stay in the cycle of birth and death in the material world itself. The destination is material world. But by practice of knowledge, bhakti, a person can go back to God. Therefore, his destination is different. But the destination of bodily concept of life people is same as material world itself. So that is what being spoken here. So what Prabhupada speaks here is very nice. Two things are spoken here. Vidya, avidya. So Prabhupada defines vidya. He goes to third section of Bhakti Shastri, Bhagavad Gita, 13 to 18. In that, Amanitvam, Adamvitvam, that verse, 13.8 to 12, Prabhupada writes that 20 items of knowledge here. But here it is categorizing that into 18 items. The last two, 17 and 18, in 17th he merges 2 items and 18th he merges 2 items. Therefore 20 items of knowledge in Bhagavad Gita 13.8 to 12 is grouped here as 18 items of knowledge in Ishwar Mission. But actually here it is 20. So Vidya means 20 items of knowledge given in Bhagavad Gita 13.8 to 12. And anything apart from this is avidya. That is what Prabhupada is going to speak about. Okay? Yes.
Process of cultivating knowledge. Culturing knowledge, Vidya, Bhagavad Gita 13.8. As advised in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, one should culture knowledge in the following way. 1. One should become a perfect gentleman and learn to give proper respect to others. 2. One should not pose himself as religionist simply for name and fame. Third, one should not become a source of anxiety to others by the action of his body, by the thoughts of his mind, or by his words. Fourth, one should learn forbearance even in the face of provocation from others. 5. One should learn to avoid duplicity in his dealings with others. 6. One should search out a bona fide spiritual master who can lead him gradually to the state of spiritual realization, and one must submit himself to such a spiritual master, render him service, and ask relevant questions. 7. In order to uphold the platform of self-realization, one must follow the related principles and join in the revealed scriptures. 8. One must be fixed in the tenets of the revealed scriptures. 9. One should completely refrain from practices which are detrimental to the interest of self-realization. 10. One should not accept more than he requires for the maintenance of the body. 11. One should not falsely identify himself with the gross material body, nor should one consider those who are related to his body to be his own. 12. One should always remember that as long as he has a material body, he must face the miseries of repeated birth, old age, disease, and death. There is no use in making plans to get rid of these miseries of the material body. The best course is to find out the means by which one may gain his spiritual identity. 13. One should not be attached to more than necessities of life required for spiritual advancement. 14. One should not be more attached to wife, children, and home than the revealed scriptures are doing. 15. One should not be happy or distressed over desirable and undesirable, knowing that such feelings are just created by the mind. 16. One should become an allied devotee of the personality of God and Sri Krishna and serve him with rapt attention. 17. One should develop a liking for residence in a secluded place with a calm and quiet atmosphere favorable for spiritual, and one should avoid congested places where non-devotees congregate. 18. One should become a scientist or philosopher and conduct research into spiritual knowledge, recognizing that spiritual knowledge is permanent, whereas material knowledge ends with the death of the body.
Okay. So these are all 18 items of knowledge. What I'll do is, now I'll just continue the purport here, and after this purport, we'll go to Bhagavad Gita 13.8 to 12 and read the purport which Prabhupada is giving for this item of knowledge there, and then go to the next one. Fine? So we'll discuss this purport in detail after reading what is avidya. Now what Prabhupada speaks about avidya, culture of nescience, avidya. Everything else apart from 18 items of knowledge is called as avidya. The simple definition of vidya is Ishavasya. The broad definition of vidya is 18 items of knowledge. Okay? And much more broader definition of vidya is whole Vedic literature. Okay? Yeah.
Culture of nescience. Avidya, everything else apart from 18 items of knowledge. First, good intentions are not enough. One should accept above 18 items to change the satanic situation of present civilization.
So now, what Prabhupada tells is Adam Vitvam, Amanitvam, Adam Vitvam. Amanitvam is becoming humble. In olden days, when somebody, recently one student, one of the devotees who I'm cultivating in one of the college, he was telling, Prabhuji recently went to my village. When I was there, not even one small boy used to smoke cigarette in front of anyone. BD. If some elderly person used to come in the street, they used to go and smoke it in some nearby field, hidden from everybody else. And nowadays, this 10th standard students, 11th standard students, they are walking in the street smoking cigarette in front of everyone. The degradation of not giving respect to elders. Prabhupada starts that with this. What? Modern civilization is creating people, education where they are not able to give respect. Amanitvam. So whatever is 18 item of knowledge, opposite of that everything is avidya. That is what Prabhupada says. Yes, can you read too?
These 18 items combine to form a gradual process by which real knowledge can be developed. Except for this, all other methods are considered to be in the category of nations. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a great Acharya, maintained that all forms of material knowledge are merely external features of the illusory energy, and that by culturing them one becomes no better than an ass.
Gata. Verse song says, yes.
The same principle is found here in Sri Ishopanishad. By advancement of material knowledge, modern man is simply becoming converted into an ass. Some materialistic politicians and spiritual guys decry the present system of civilization as satanic. But unfortunately, they do not care about the culture of real knowledge as it is described in Bhagavad Gita. Thus, they cannot change the satanic situation.
Therefore, good intentions are not good
No.
enough. And Prabhupada is indicating politicians in the spiritual guys decry the present system as satanic. You understood whom Prabhupada is referring to. There is only one politician, the spiritual guys, during those times of 1944. So everything is satanic. But what, just by telling it is so bad, he's a political leader, somebody is a prime minister, and only they are decrying everything is satanic. But do something for that, na? Do some fire plan to change the satanic position by preaching Krishna consciousness. No, they will not do it. That is Prabhupada is becoming upset with. Yes. Somebody else? Yes.
Ill effects of material knowledge, avidya. In the modern society, even a boy thinks himself self-sufficient and pays no respect to elderly men.
First is Amanitham. Prabhupada is speaking about against him. Okay. The purpose of education means what? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. That Vidya should lead Vinaya, humility. Humility means respect. In Bhagavad Gita, respect is told as respecting elders, respecting deities, respecting spiritual master, and respecting God, Supreme Person Godhead. That is the meaning of austerity of body, offering respect to all these things. But that knowledge only is not there. That is called as avidya. That you can see nowadays. Now old people are like not respected anywhere. They are simply seen as old bulls which are sent to slaughterhouse. Old bulls are sent to slaughterhouses, like old people are sent to vridhashrams. That is what civilization is. This is education. Yes.
Due to the wrong type of education being imparted in our universities, boys all over the world are giving their elders grades. Thus, Sri Shopanishad very strongly warns that the culture of science is different from that of knowledge. The universities are, so to speak, centers of science only.
So that is first is Amanitvam. And now Prabhupada speaks about the Brahmachari principle. Education means formation of character. One cannot form character unless and otherwise he doesn't see every woman as one's own mother except one's wife. So Prabhupada speaks about that principle now. And because of not controlling senses, not respecting seniors, we have lethal weapons and there is always a chance of world war. Yeah.
Consequently, scientists are busy discovering lethal weapons to wipe out the existence of other countries. University students today are not given instruction in the regulative principles of brahmacharya, celibate student life, nor do they have any faith in any spiritual injunctions. Religious principles are taught for the sake of name and fame only, and not for the sake of practical action. Thus, there is an animosity not only in social and political fields, but in the field of religion as well.
Name and fame. So anywhere you want to see any society, any organization, they will call ISKCON. And people devotees also go, and we got a new preaching venture. After going there, it was a regular functional event. So it happens every year, once in a year, and this time we called ISKCON. Next time we'll call some other people. We want to show off, show total spirituality. Okay? Yes. Avidya, ignorance in the garb of knowledge.
Nationalism has developed in different parts of the world due to the cultivation of nations by the chosen people. No one considers that this tiny earth is just a lump of matter floating in immeasurable space along with many other lumps. In comparison to the vastness of space, these material lumps are like dust particles in the air. Because God has kindly made these lumps of matter complete in themselves, they are perfectly equipped with all necessities for floating in space. The drivers of our spaceships may be very proud of their achievements, but they do not consider the supreme driver of these greater, more gigantic spaceships called planets.
So ISRO is living Chandrayaan, then there is Gaganayan, then there is Aditya, L1, L2, L3, and they are thinking it as education scholarship, and all those things. But what it is? Ignorance in the garb of knowledge. Whatever you may go to heaven, you may go to moon, you may go to Mars, you may do such astronomical adventures and do all those things, and the whole world may clap. India has gone to the South Pole, but what it is? Ignorance in the garb of knowledge, because it cannot make us from the point of view of Ishopanishad. That is very important. Okay, because Ishopanishad is pointing out exit from material world. It's a mukti scripture. It's a jnana scripture. Who has crossed to dharma, artha, kama, and wants moksha. Ishopanishad is meant for that. On how to perform karma, in what, why we do, why, not what we do, why we do, why we have to be in this world. That why comes in Upanishad, and therefore, from the point of view of Upanishad, all these things, and what Prabhupada has given essence of all Upanishad is Gita Upanishad. It also speaks about Sarvadharma and Parityaja. So all this maneuvering is nothing but political, social, educational maneuvering in the modern days world is simply avidya in the garb of knowledge. Yes. And because of this so-called avidya, what is happening? Countries are being divided, nuclear weapons are being harbored by both the party, and there is tourism, there is visa, and there is always checking of borders and all these things, because we don't accept universal God, and therefore there is no universal brotherhood. And then people from one country wants to kill another people. Both are humans, but they want to wipe out humans. That is what Prabhupada is telling in the next paragraph. Such avidya, which is rising from the bodily conception of life, leads to what? They want to dominate, and then they want to control, and they are getting frustrated. And it's only because of false pride or ahankar, identifying of the body. Yes, somebody from online can read. Pratik Prabhu, you never read, you can read. I think you'll have to connect audio.
His mic is not working, Proji, so
Okay,
he's
his mic work is okay, his mic. Okay, Ujjwal Nilmanipur, you read.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Shubham Bro want to read this.
Okay, Shubham Prabhu wants to read. You can read loudly, Shubham Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Thank
Read.
you. Avidya leads
Read, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Yes, continue reading. Somebody from later.
in as infinitesimal cells.
Prabhu, your audio is not very clear. I think because of connection. Here, someone can read. Yes.
There are innumerable suns and innumerable planetary systems.
Thus we take repeated birth and death.
Infinitesimal parts and parcels of Supreme Lord. We small creatures are trying to dominate these unlimited planets. Thus we take repeated birth and death and are generally frustrated by old age and disease. This span of human life is scheduled for about 100 years. Although it is gradually decreasing to 20 or 30 years,
As
thanks
Kali
to the
Yuga
culture of science.
As Kali Yuga will proceed, then from 100 years in Kali Yuga it will become to 10, 20, 5, 1 year. As Kali Yuga progresses, 100 years will become 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, and size also will become small. Nothing will be there to eat. All those things will happen. Yes, continue.
We may have created their own nations within these planets in order to grasp sense enjoyment more effectively for these failures. Such foolish people draw various plans to render nations demarcations perfectly as a task that is totally impossible. Yet, for this purpose, each and every nation has become a source of anxiety for others. More than 50% of the nation's energy is divided to defense measures and thus spoiled. No one cares for the cultivation of real knowledge, yet people are falsely proud of being advanced in both material and spiritual knowledge.
Yes, because of avidya, people identify the body and they are very puffed up. They are not humble. Because they are not humble, they think they are the Lord and Masters, Ojananti Mamoda, and therefore they start doing natural demarcation of the countries. And for one feet here and there, they have World War One, World War Two, and so many things. And that is what proceeding. This is the result of avidya. So what is the result of avidya? No respect, no brahmacharya, no culture is remaining, and natural demarcation. They are puffed up with false pride. They have nuclear weapons, and they are ready to wipe out the whole material civilization. These are all the results of avidya. So therefore, in this verse speaks about three things. Iti shushrumadhiranam enastad visheshakshire. One first, this verse spoke about avidya, vidya. So Prabhupada spoke about what is vidya. Prabhupada spoke about what is avidya. Now Prabhupada is speaking about iti shushrumadhiranam enastad visheshakshire. The vidya which is there, this has to be heard from a bona fide representative called as dhira. Yes, so Prabhupada is going to speak about the symptom of a dhira. Yes, who has mic? Wait, question.
Vidya knowledge must be acquired from a dhira. First, symptoms and relations of a dhira. Shri Ishwar warns us of this faulty type of education. And the Bhagavad Gita gives instruction as to the development of real knowledge. This mantra states that instruction of Vidya, knowledge, must be acquired from a dhira. A dhira is one who is not disturbed by material illusion. No one can be undisturbed unless he is perfectly spiritually realized, at which time one neither hankers nor laments for anything. A dhira realizes that the material body and mind he has acquired by chance through material association are but foreign elements. Therefore, he simply makes the best use of a bad body. The material body and mind are bad bargains for the spiritual living entities. The living entity has actual functions in the living spiritual world, but this material world is dead. As long as the living spiritual spark manipulate the dead lumps of matter, the dead world appears to be a living world. Actually, it is the living souls, the part and parcels of the Supreme Living Being, who move the world. The Dhiras have come to know all these facts by hearing them from the superior authorities and have realized this knowledge by following the regulative principles.
So this Vedic knowledge has to be heard from a Dhira. And what is the symptom of Dhira? Is a symptom of Dhira. They have nothing to do with this material world. They are in this world, but they are not of this world. Like the lotus leaf and drop of water. Padma Patra, Imam Vasa, their goal is spiritual world. But still, they have learned all these facts from Anupashyataha, disciplic succession. Not Anukaran, but Anusaran. The definition of Dhira is he should have come in disciplic succession, he should have heard from his Guru, he should be Brahmanishtam, and he should be Stotriyam. Stotriyam means hearing from the disciplic succession. Brahmanishtam means should have realized the knowledge. These are two qualifications. So Dhira is nothing but qualification of a Guru. And what we are trying to discuss is what Srila Prabhupada, who is a Dhira, he has given his purports. And we are trying to discuss his purports as a part of Bhakti Shastri or Bhakti Vaibhava or Bhakti Vedanta. Therefore, this knowledge which we are getting is, we are directly getting from a Dhira, who is Srila Prabhupada. So process of learning Vidya from a Dhira. Next. So this Vidya is meant to be learned from a Dhira. What is that qualification of Dhira is mentioned in the previous paragraph. Now what is the process of learning Vidya from a Dhira? Yes, Vittal Vishnu. अशोक को पढ़ो तब तक विठल विष्णु को माइक दे दो पीछे.
Second, the process of learning Vidya from the Dhira. To follow the regulative principle, one must take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. The transcendental message and the regulative principles comes down from the spiritual master to the disciple. Such knowledge does not come in the hazardous way of the nascent educations. One can become a Dhira only by submissively hearing from the bona fide spiritual master.
Arjuna, for example, became Adhira by submissively hearing from the Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead himself. The, and the spiritual master must be as good as the Lord himself. This is the process of learning Vidya. Knowledge from the Dhira, the undisturbed.
Yes. Process of learning Vidya from Adhira is Tad Vidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Updekshanti Te Jnanam Jnaninas Tattva Darshina. Spiritual master should be like Arjuna Krishna and the disciple should be like Arjuna. And the most important is submissive service attitude. That is what will make us realize the knowledge which we are hearing from a Dhira. And what we should be cautious of? So Vidya should be heard from a Dhira, qualification of a Dhira, how to understand a Dhira, and how one should approach a Dhira and get knowledge from him. The last part is how we should be careful not to misidentify a Dhira as a Dhira. Okay? Yes. Okay, you read.
Third, Adhira is the wheel of Dira. And Adhira who has not undergone the training of Adhira cannot be an instructive leader. Modern politicians who quote themselves as Adhira are actually Adhira, and one cannot expect perfect knowledge from them. They are simply busy in seeing to their own remuneration in the dollars and cents. How then can they lead mass of people to the right path of the self-realization? Thus one must hear submissively from the Dhira in order to attain actual education.
Yes. So when Prabhupada is speaking about modern politicians, it is politicians among saints or saints among politicians. That is one thing. Okay. And another thing is the king is supposed to take care of his praja. So in that way, he is also Naradeva and is supposed to rule citizens based on the instruction of Lord. And therefore, Prabhupada sometimes think politicians who are in monarchy, who are in democracy, so they are responsible for the citizens. So they cannot take care of citizens because they are not Dhiras. So that is what this verse speaks about. Fine. So this verse is very simple. Avidya, anything apart from 18 items of knowledge. Vidya, 18, 20 items of knowledge. And how to gain that knowledge from Dhira, his qualifications, how to approach him, that very pranipatan, submissive self-attitude. And politicians cannot be called as Dhiras because present day leaders are not spiritualists. Therefore, they are not got the training of a Dhira. So we cannot get knowledge from them. So therefore, this is one destination achieved by those who cultivate knowledge, and one destination achieved by those who cultivate science. So go to mantra 11. Vidyayam cha Yastad Vedo Vayam Saha Avidyayam Mrityum Tirtva Vidyamritam Ashnute. Yes, Shankar Prabhu.
Prabhuji, just you mentioned before in the previous verse that you will read the 13th chapter purport.
We will read tomorrow.
Acha.
In the beginning of the class. Because fresh it becomes very quick. Now it is at the end of the day. Huh?
Okay.
So we'll go to it. Vidyayam cha Yastad Vedo Vayam Saha Avidyayam Mrityum Tirtva Vidyamritam Ashnute. It's one devotee from offline, one devotee from online. Can I say this?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, yes, Vidyayam
cha avidya. Yastadvedo bhayam saha.
Yastadvedo Vayam Saha
Avidyaya mrityum tirtva.
Avidyayam Mrityum Tirtva
विद्ययामृतमश्नुते
विद्यामृतमश्नुते
विद्यां च विद्यां च
विद्यां च विद्यां च
यस्तद्वेदो वयं सः
यस्तद्वेदो वयं सः
विद्यया मृत्युं त्यक्त्वा
अविद्यया मृत्युं तीर्त्वा
विद्यामृतमश्नुते
विद्यामृतमश्नुते what meaning vidyayam knowledge in fact cha and avidyayam is science cha and ya a person who tat that veda knows ubayam both saha simultaneously avidya by culture of the science mrityum repeated death tirtva transcending vidya by culture of knowledge amritam deathlessness ashnute enjoys. Now this is a twist in this mantra. Don't get confused. Only one who can learn the process of nescience. Only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of. They are not telling that Vidya will take you back to Godhead. Avidya and Vidya together will take you back to Godhead. In fact, the verse tells what? अविद्या मृत्युम तीर्थवा, मृत्यु से ऊपर उठने के लिए क्या चाहिए? अविद्या चाहिए, और बैक टू गॉड जाने के लिए क्या चाहिए? विद्या चाहिए. अविद्या मृत्युम तीर्थवा, अविद्या से मृत्यु का मटेरियल वर्ल्ड से बाहर निकलोगे, और विद्या से क्या करोगे? स्पिरिचुअल में घुसोगे आप. श्लोक ये क्या है? ये अविद्या और विद्या क्या है? इसलिए बोला था सेक्शन थोड़ा वही विद्या वही अविद्या. Text, context. Text is same, contexts are different. Mantra 9, Vidya, Avidya, both are avidya. Mantra 10, Vidya, Avidya. What is Vidya? That is Vidya. What is avidya is Mantra 9, both are avidya. And Mantra 11, Vidya, Avidya, both are vidya. So according to Baldev Vidyabhushan, this avidya refers to varnashram dharma. Ata pumbir vidashteshta varnashrama vibhagasa sanushtitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. For practicing bhakti, we have swabhava. So according to our swabhava, one may be kshatriya, one may be a Vaishya, one may be a Brahmana, one may be a Shudra, whatever it is, Swabhava. So anybody who comes to Krishna consciousness, Lord's body, Varnashram has come from Lord's body. So like Shankaracharya says, that Ganges is coming from Lord's lotus feet, and Gita Amrit, Ganges is coming from Lord's mouth. So Krishna is absolute. Therefore, Ganges coming from his feet is same as Ganges coming from his mouth. There is no difference. So in that way, Varnashram, Lord's body, Shudras, Vaishyas, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas coming from the Lord's body. Krishna says, I am there. Guna Karma Vibhagasha, they are coming from a body. So there is no material distinction in sense of spiritually they are not distinct. Materially they have different profile. But if they practice bhakti, even a Shudra can go back to Godhead. Even a Brahmana can go back to Godhead. Even a Kshatriya can go back to Godhead. Even a Vaishya can go back to Godhead. It is based on Swabhava. And there are, if you see in Chaitanya Leela, Haridas Thakur is coming from lecture background. He is not even Shudra. Lecture is considered even lesser than Shudra. If you see in Maharashtra, there is a sect called as Sautamali. They are coming from a It's said it is less than a Vaishya. Understand? Amla Shudra. And they are Kumbhar. They're also almost like less than a Vaishya only. So all different categories from different Varnas, they have become devotees and they become glorious devotees and they have gone back to Godhead. Sant Tukaram coming from Vaishya background. Understand? Na? Gyanesha coming from a Brahmanical background. But all of them practiced bhakti and they went back to Godhead. So the purport of saying is we have swabhavas. According to the swabhava, we perform bodily functions for our body. But bhakti is for the soul. So like all of us, we have given up everything, all our religion, but you have come to Brahmacharya ashram. The varna for us is that we are supposed to hear Guru. Guru Sudruda Savradaha Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Gurohitam. This is Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sanya. This is Varna. This is ashram. And there is Varna. This what we are trying to fit in, this is also avidya. This is also material. But this material segregation is helping us to practice bhakti. That is the meaning of varnashram. So what Bhakti Saraswati Maharaj categorized, till that time only Babajis were there. But Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a person again to categorize Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas, so that it can aid the practice of Krishna consciousness for the sadhakas. They can get a platform where they can breathe. They can be according to Swabhava. Somebody is not ready to get married. Why should he get married? Except Brahmachari life. Take sannyas. Somebody is feeling okay, should get married. Okay, take get married, have one wife, produce children, and practice bhakti. That is Swabhava. Somebody after getting married, okay, it's too much ho gaya, take 1% and practice bhakti. And somebody wants after brahmachari wants to take sannyas, let him take. Somebody doesn't want, continues the brahmachari. What is the problem? But that is just a material foundation for a person to stably situate. That is categorized as avidya in this verse. Maintenance of body in such a way that body and soul stay together. Physically, you are healthy, and mentally and emotionally, you are calm and peaceful to practice bhakti. That is called as avidya in this shloka according to Baldev Vidyabhushan. And even Vedanta Desikan as well as Madhvacharya. All these commentators are quoting it as this avidya refers to bodily necessities of a sadhaka for practicing spirituality, which is categorized as varna and ashrama, occupational duty. So therefore what happens? By behaving according to one's varna ashram, he can transcend death. And by chanting Hare Krishna, he can go back to Godhead. So vidyayam cha avidyayam cha yastad vedobhayam saha avidyam mrityum tirtva vidyam amrutam ashnute. So what word meaning? Vidyayam, knowledge in fact. Cha, and avidyayam, science. Cha, and ya, a person who. Tat, that. Veda, knows. Ubhayam, both. Saha, simultaneously. Avidya, by the culture of nescience. Mrityum, repeated death. Tirtva, transcending. Vidya, by culture of knowledge. Amrutam, deathlessness. Ashnute, enjoys. Only one who can learn the process of nescience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. Basically, it is regulating sense gratification. Prabhupada says one cannot starve sense gratification, but regulate it by accepting a particular varna and ashram, or offering bhoga to Lord Krishna and accept prasad. No meditating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, it's extravagance. But regulation, by not doing this thing, is control. Therefore, restriction of material necessities and practice of spiritual yoga. That is a balance of both yama, niyama. So Vidya is yama, and avidya is niyama. That is how it is seen. So now Prabhupada says, in this verse, what comes is Amrutam Ashnute. Vidyayam Amrutam Ashnute. Vidyayam cha avidyayam cha yastad veda ubhayam saha avidyayam mrityum tirtva. Vidyayam Amrutam Ashnute. Mrityum tirtva Amrutam Ashnute. We want to get rid of the cycle of birth and death and achieve immortality. So that immortality, Prabhupada starts with that. Discussion focus looks with what? The word standing highlighting here is Mrityum. In the last it was Vidya, Avidya, Iti Shushma Dhirana. Here it is Amritam and Mrityum Tirtva. Therefore, Prabhupada starts with Mrityum Tirtva and Amritam. What is that Mrityum Tirtva? Nobody wants to die. Immortality is impossible materially. And Prabhupada gives example of Hiranyakashipu. Wanted to become immortal by tricking Brahma, by getting a boon. I will not die in this way, I will not die in that way. I will not die inside, outside, by this, by that, by weapons, by which are not weapons, everything. But he was trying to become immortal materially. So Prabhupada is trying to use this Shruti mantra to tell to the modern scientist, you are one of the first people who are trying to inject some antibiotic or antiseptic or some tonic by which you can become immortal. Like the example of Walt Disney. He had written a bill and given to the scientist. You invent a medicine by which you can bring back dead person back alive. You get signed the bond. The scientists were nicely eating his money. But his relatives came, "Arey, who is going to come back? Never it is going to happen that somebody dead person is going to come back alive." They had kept him frozen in a big refrigerator. The relatives went and switched off the machine and his body started rotting. So they also know it. But the quest for becoming eternal is so much that even after dying, people want to spend all his money, but still he can become immortal. Because materially one cannot become immortal. So attempt of Walt Disney is not a new attempt. So Prabhupada says these are tiny Hiranyakashipus. These are teeny Hiranyakashipus. But that Hiranyakashipu was giant. He could not become immortal. What's to speak of this teeny Hiranyakashipus? Yes. Start reading. You give it to him, na? Next couple of words. Yes, read next couple.
Immortality is impossible materially.
After that you read. Huh? Yes. Jiva's thirst for eternal life cannot be quenched by advancement of material knowledge. Yes.
Since the creation of material world, everyone has been trying to attain permanent life. But the laws of nature are so cruel that no one has been able to avoid the hand of death.
Yes. No one want to die. Yes.
No one wants to die, nor does anyone want to become old or diseased. The law of nature, however, doesn't allow anyone immunity from old age, disease, or death.
Laws of nature, law of karma will not make us immune to old age, disease, death. These are the main kleshas.
Nor has the advancement of material knowledge solved these problems. Material science can discover the nuclear bomb to accelerate the process of death, but it cannot discover anything that can protect man from the cruel hand of old age, disease, and death.
So science can increase the death rate, not the immunity rate of not dying. Yes, going to Hiranyakashipu's futile attempt to become immortal by his material acquisition and the strength of his science. Can you read?
From the Puranas. From the Puranas, we learn of the activities of Hiranyakashipu, a king who was very much advanced materially, wanted to conquer cruel death by his material acquisitions and the strength of his hands. He underwent a type of meditation so severe that the inhabitants of all the planetary system became disturbed by mystic powers. He forced the creator of the universe, the demigod Brahma, to come down to him. He then asked Brahma for the benediction of becoming Amara, by which one does not die. Brahma said that he could not award this benediction because even he, the material creator who rules all planets, is not Amar. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.17, Brahma lives a long life, but that does not mean he is immortal. Hiranya means gold, and Kashipu means soft bed. The cunning gentleman Hiranyakashipu was interested in two things, money and women, and he wanted to enjoy them by becoming immortal. He
So
asked,
this is a joke Prabhupada is trying to make here. Cunning and he's like gentleman. It's like this fellow is a rascal. Therefore he's a gentleman. Rascal gentleman or cunning gentleman. Like he was basically Asura. Yes.
he asked from Brahma many variations in hope of indirectly fulfilling his desires to become immortal. Since Brahma told him that he could not grant the gift of immortality, Hiranyakashipu requested that he not be killed by man, animal, god, or any other living being within the 84 lakh species. He also asked that he not die on land, in the air or water, by any weapon. In this way, Hiranyakashipu foolishly thought these guarantees would save him from death. Ultimately, however, although Brahma granted him all the benedictions, he was killed by the personality of Godhead in the form of Narasimha, the Lord's half lion, half man incarnation, and no weapon was used to kill him, for he was killed by the Lord's name. Nor was he killed on the land, in the air, or in the water, for he was killed on the lap of the wonderful living being Narasimha, who was beyond his conception.
Yes. So all contradictions are resolved in the personality of Godhead. This is an example. Mantra 5. So Prabhupada says, so materially you cannot become immortal. He quoted a case study, life from Avavilam. Nursing the feeling, Hiranyakashipu. He was a cunning young, he was a cunning gentleman, tried everything, but he could not become immortal. How can this present tiny Hiranyakashipu become immortal? Not possible. So what's proceeding? Jivatma wants to become immortal, but there's a problem. Only materially trying to become immortal, there is a futility. If you want to become immortal, you have to become avidya and vidya. You have to have balance of both. Only by avidya you can't become immortal. Yes, read. Futility of, yes.
Utility of one side attempt in becoming immortal. The whole point is here that even relationship, the most powerful of materialists, could not become reckless lives in these plans. What then can be accomplished by the tiny relationship of whose plans are thwarted from moment to moment? Sri Ishwar Mission instructs us not to make oneself attempts to gain the struggle for existence. Everyone is struggling hard for existence. The laws of Mother Nature are so hard and fast that they do not allow anyone to surpass them. In order to attain a permanent life, one must be prepared to go back to Godhead.
That is vidya. Practice of avidya and vidya side by side. So therefore, to go back to Godhead and to remind the forgetful soul who is lording over mentality, who has forgotten Lord, his service attitude. So what Lord does? Chaitanya Charitamrita comes. Madhya Leela 122. Maya Mukta Jivera Nai Swata Krishna Gyan Jivera Kripaye Kaile Krishna Veda Puran. So this paragraph is nothing but the translation of this verse from CC Madhya Leela 122. Therefore, to remind of the living entity about his eternal position, what Lord does? He comes, he sends Vedic literature, he sends Guru, and he reminds the living entity of the forgetful nature. Yes, next word. Sasam Sumit.
Immortality is possible only by following Krishna's teachings. माया मुक्त जीवेरा नहीं स्वतः कृष्ण ज्ञान जीवेरा कृपा कहिले कृष्ण वेद पुराण सुशी मधुरिका 122. Process by which one goes back to Godhead is a different branch of knowledge, and it has to be learned from revealed Vedic scriptures such as the Upanishad, Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. To become happy in this life and attain a permanent blissful life after leaving this material body, one must study the sacred literatures and obtain transcendental knowledge. The conditioned living beings has forgotten his eternal relationship with God and has mistakenly accepted the temporary place of his birth as all in all. The Lord has kindly delivered the above-mentioned scriptures in India and other scriptures in other countries to remind the forgetful human beings that
His home is not here in this material world. The living being is a spiritual entity and he can be happy only by returning to his spiritual home.
Yeah, so immortality is possible only by Krishna's teaching means only possible by Vidya. It is not possible by Avidya, it is possible by Vidya and Avidya together. Yes, read the next.
Lord out of his causeless mercy sends his devotees and appears himself to reclaim the jivas.
So not only sends Vedic literature, it also appears in incarnation. It also sends his acharyas to deliver the jivatmas. Yes.
From his kingdom, the personality of Godhead sends his bona fide servants to propagate this message by which one can return to Godhead. And sometimes the Lord comes himself to do this work. Since all living beings are his beloved sons, his parts and parcels, God is more sorry than we ourselves to see the sufferings we are constantly undergoing in this material condition. The miseries of this material world serve to indirectly remind us of our incompatibility with dead matter.
This is one of the closed book question for an exam. The miseries of this material world serve to indirectly remind us of our incompatibility with matter. Soul is Satchitananda. Matter is Asat, Achit, Nirananda. Like a short wife having a tall husband. There is no compatibility. Let us show now when Krishna kidnapped 16,000 princes were kidnapped by Jarasan by who was the demon? Narkasura, Gomasura. Then Krishna killed him and brought other 16,000 princes. And Krishna became according to their size. Somebody are short, stout, tall. Krishna accordingly manages height and weight and according to matching that particular princess. So that is called as compatibility. But here, Jivatma is Satchidananda and the body is Asat Achit Nirananda. So there is incompatibility with dead matter. Miseries indicate that this is not our place. We are not from here. We are compatible with spiritual world, with Krishna's service, with submissive service attitude, not with lauding our mentality, not with the material world, not with the material bodies. Yes.
Intelligent living entities generally take note of these reminders and engage themselves in the culture of Vidya or transcendental knowledge. Human life is the best opportunity for the culture of spiritual knowledge, and a human being who does not take advantage of this opportunity is called a Naradham, the lowest of human beings.
Yes. Now, Prabhupada is going to speak about Avidya. Till now, we spoke about Vidya, Vedic literature, Krishna comes, Acharyas come. Now, be very careful. The Avidya mystery is opening up here. Already, I told you in the beginning only that Avidya refers to Varnashram. Varnashram basically refers to Varna means our Swabhava. Ashram means whether one is inclined to sex or no sex. Basically, it is sense gratification. So, how it is, Prabhupada is writing in the purport is by this statement sense gratification binds us to mortality, so restrict it. So Varnashram is nothing but a means to restrict unlimited sense gratification, by which because we are human, rational humans are like animals, but rational animals. So therefore, we have human animalistic needs of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But Varnashram helps us to regulate that. So that is a part of Avidya. Yes, Prabhu.
The path of avidya or advancement of material knowledge, social gratification, is a path of repeated birth and death. As he exists spiritually, the living entity has no birth or death. Birth and death apply to the outward covering of the spirit, so the body. Death is compared to the taking off and birth to the putting on of outward garment. Foolish human beings who are grossly absorbed in the culture of avidya and sense do not mind this cruel process. Ignorant with the beauty of the illusion energy, they undergo the same disease repeatedly and do not learn any lessons from the laws of nature. Therefore, the culture of avidya or transcendental knowledge, the culture of vidya or transcendental knowledge is essential for the human being. Sense enjoyment is the diseased material condition must be restricted as far as possible. Unrestricted sense enjoyment in this bodily condition is the path of ignorance and death. The living entities are not without spiritual senses. Every living being in its original spiritual form has all the senses which are now materially manifested, being covered by the material body and mind. The activities of the material senses are perverted reflections of the activities of the original spiritual senses. In its deceased condition, the spirit soul engages in material activities under the material covering. Real enjoyment and enjoyment is possible only when the disease of materialism is removed. In our pure spiritual form, free from all material contaminations, real enjoyment of the senses is possible.
So what Prabhupada is trying to give here is, the material body is like a disease for a soul, and sense gratification is going to increase the temperature. But if the temperature is not there, then the person dies. So we should have a particular temperature, whatever temperature is there of a living entity. But if it is crosses, it becomes 97.45, whatever degree is there. It becomes 103, 104, 105 and gets mrityujara, one dies. But it becomes from 97.4 or whatever it is, it becomes 0, the person is dead. So therefore, we need temperature to maintain the body. Although we are in a disease condition, Jivatma in the spiritual world is 97.4 degree Fahrenheit. Jivatma in the material world is 104 degree Fahrenheit. His disease condition, he is a deceased. His senses are not working. What happens in a disease? You can't play. You have to lie down. Especially if you get a viral fever, you can't eat sweet rice, puri, paneer makhan wala, pav bhaji, samosa, whatever things. Basically, there is a diet, there is a medicine, then there is rest. Basically, there is regulation. Similarly, 104 degree Fahrenheit is material world, Jivatma accepting a body. 97.4 degree is spiritual world, where Jivatma is healthy, enjoying Leela with Krishna. And 0 degree is merging in Brahman, where there is no activity. Understand, na? So we cannot deny temperature. At the same time, we should not increase too much of temperature. But we have to regulate temperature by which we can give up this material world. That analogy Prabhupada is trying to give here. Yes.
Patient must regain his health before he can truly enjoy sense pleasure again. Thus, the aim of human life should not be to enjoy perfected sense enjoyment, but to cure the material disease. Aggravation of the material disease is no sign of knowledge, but a sign of avidya, ignorance. For good health, the person should not increase his fever from 105 degrees to 107 degrees, but should reduce his temperature to the normal 98.6. That should be the aim of human life. The modern trend of mental civilization is to increase the temperature of the feverish mental condition, which has reached the point of 107 degrees in the form of atomic energy. Meanwhile, the foolish politicians are trying that at any moment the world may go to hell. That is the result of the advancement of material knowledge and the neglect of the most important part of life, the culture of spiritual knowledge. Sri Ishopanishad herein warns that we must not follow this dangerous path leading to death. On the contrary, we must develop the culture of spiritual knowledge so that we may become completely free from cruel hands of death.
Yes. So, peak of materialism is 107. Getting material world is 105. 98.7 is spiritual world. Making it 0 is like 99. Yes. Apara Dharma teaches us how to balance material and spiritual side. That is avidya. Yeah, please.
This does not mean that all activities for the maintenance of the body should be stopped. There is no question of stopping activities, just as there is no question of wiping out one's temperature altogether when trying to recover from a disease. To make the best use of a bad bargain is the appropriate expression. The culture of spiritual knowledge necessitates the help of the body and mind. Therefore, maintenance of the body and mind is required if we are to reach our goal. The normal temperature should be maintained at 98.6 degrees, and the great sages and saints of India have attempted to do this by balanced program of spiritual and material knowledge. They never allow the misuse of human intelligence for disease sense gratification.
So, what is the means of best use of bad bargain? It is like making best of the waste. We are spiritual. We are not this body. But somehow we got this body. So rather than doing sense gratification, use his body, which Kapil Dev gives analogy in third canto, teachings of Lord Kapila. For a sadhaka or a yogi, the body is like a wood which is burning in the fire of sacrifice for Vishnu. The wood becomes ash, karma becomes nullified, and the purpose is served of serving Krishna. So body, we have to use like sandalwood, sandal paste, which can be applied in chandan on the deity. Body is anyway going to die, and we need food to eat, offer bhoga to Lord and take prasad. We need to work for Krishna. Give the results of the work for Krishna. So similarly, we need some grasa may say, I need a wife. Get married and produce Krishna houses, children, and between two couple, let there be a divine couple. This is the meaning of best use of bad bargain. Anyway, the body needs some sense gratification. Give that sense gratification regulated, but with Krishna in the center. That is the meaning of best use of bad bargain. That is the meaning of not making the temperature from 105 to 0, but not keeping it 107, unrestricted sense enjoyment, but make it in such a way that we become Krishna conscious. And at the end of Allah, we remain Krishna conscious, we make it 98.7, then we'll ascend to Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan. Yes.
Human activities deceived by tendency towards sense gratification have been regulated in the Vedas under the principles of salvation.
Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. That is nothing but Varna, Ashrama. Varna and Ashrama. The goal of Varna Ashrama is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Yes.
This system employs religion, economic development, sense gratification, and salvation. But at the present moment, people have no interest in religion or salvation. They have only one aim in life, sense gratification. And in order to achieve this aim, they make plans for economic development. Misguided men think that religion should be maintained because it contributes to economic development, which is required for sense gratification. Thus, in order to guarantee further sense gratification after death in heaven, there is some system of religious observance. But this is not the purpose of religion.
Vedavada Rata. Yes.
The path of religion is actually meant for self-realization, and economic development is required just to maintain the body in a sound, healthy condition. Man should lead a healthy life with a sound mind just to realize Vidya, true knowledge, which is the aim of human life. This life is not meant for working like an ass or for culturing avidya for self.
Yes, Jivas Tattva Vidnyasa. First canto, second chapter. That is the shloka. So this is the meaning of avidya. Avidya regulates us. Avidya helps us to do best use of bad bargain. Best use by regulating bad. Best use is practice bhakti, and bad bargain is regulated. Best use of bad bargain. Yes. How Paradharma grants immortality. One should learn it from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Bhakti, the Samrit Sindhu. So now what Prabhupada spoke now in Dharma Artha Kama Moksha section is avidya regulates body. It doesn't makes one beastly, or it doesn't makes one completely unrestricted sense enjoyment. That is a part to hell. Restricting sense enjoyment makes a person peaceful, calm, and then he can focus on bhakti. And that balance of both will help him transcend death and go back to body.
It's like indirect way of
It is mentioned in Bhagavad Bhushan's commentary, where Prabhupada is taking it from. Yeah.
how Paradharma grants immortality, and one should learn if from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu.
Yes.
The path of Veda is most properly presented in Srimad Bhagavatam, which directs a human being to utilize his life to inquire into the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized step by step as Brahma, Paramatma, and finally Bhagavan. The personality of Godhead, the absolute truth is realized by the broad-minded man who has attained knowledge and detachment by following the 18 principles of the Bhagavad Gita described in the purport to Mantra 10. The central purpose of this 18th principle is attainment of transcendental devotional service to the personal Godhead. Therefore, all classes of men are encouraged to learn the art of devotional service to the Lord. The guaranteed path of the aim of the Veda is described by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which we have presented in English as the nectar of devotion. The culture of Vidya is summarized in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:14 in his following words.
तस्मादेकेन मनसा भगवान् सत्त्वतां श्रोतव्या प्रीतितपस्या देयस्य भूरिष्ठनित्यदा.
Therefore, with one pointed at him, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the person of God, who is the protector of the devotee. Unless religion, economic development, and sense gratification aim toward the attainment of devotional service to the Lord, they are all simply different forms of messages. In a sense, as Sri Upanishad indicates in the following mantra.
Yes. So therefore, this Vidya refers to Bhakti. Avidya refers to the knowledge which can help us in the navigating of the ocean of nescience. So there is one thing called as you should know the knowledge of where you are supposed to go if you are going into the ocean, and you should know how much deep the ocean is, what kind of waves are going to come, what HP machine you have to carry in the ship so that you can cross across the ocean. So Avidya is crossing across the ocean, and Vidya is reaching the goal. And in Vidya, the ends and the means are same. So therefore, Baldev Vidya Bhushan and some other acharyas, they categorize this Avidya as a knowledge which helps us to navigate the material world. That is regarding uh, food, clothing, shelter in such a way that it should not break the regular principles of meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling. So, not breaking it. Mantra 2. Kurvaneveha karmani jiji vishesham samah sevayam nanyate tosti na karma lipyate nare. Do karma in such a way that you are not bound. On the other hand, practice bhakti by which you will become transcendent. Yes, Umashankar Prabhu.
Prabhuji, this avidya actually is helping us further in cultivating vidya, right?
Yes.
So why is there still bit is termed as avidya? Avidya, by hearing the term itself, it is like something which is contrary to vidya. But in this case, avidya is.
Yes. So therefore, when you study Vedic literature, you should be keeping these two things in mind: text and context. दूध का जला छाछ भी फूक फूक के पीते हैं. एक बार गाय गया था, लाल आग उसको लग गया, उसका जो भी लाल दिखता था उसको लिख के क्या दिखता था उसको आग. उसी तरह से हम बचपन भक्ति के बचपन से अविद्या इज बैड, विद्या इज गुड, so that kind of concept we have got. But when we read come to Upanishad, it becomes very clear. Text and context is the same. Text is same, vidya, avidya. But in mantra 9, vidya is bad because it's so called as misguided vidya. But in mantra 10, avidya is different, vidya is different. But in mantra 11, both vidya and avidya, they are vidya because it vidya because the goal is Krishna.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, Prabhus. Hope this is understandable. Nobody is confused. Simple. Navigating the knowledge for navigating in this material world by which we are able to purely practice bhakti. That is vidya and mantra. So how I see it as 9, 10, 11, 10 avidya and vidya. What is avidya is avidya. What is vidya is vidya. What is it? Vidya and mantra 10 consists of vidya and avidya and mantra 11. And what is avidya and mantra 10 consists of vidya and so-called vidya and mantra 9. That is reward of Krishna. And this is for everyone which goes towards Krishna. This is helping us to go back home, back to Godhead. This is how I analyzed based on whatever Acharya's commentaries which we have read. Hare Krishna. So tomorrow we'll see about worship. Worship is same, 3 shlokas. Instead of Vidya, you replace Sambhuti. And instead of Avidya, it is Asambhuti. Only thing in the last shloka, Vidyayamcha, there it is Sambhutimcha Vinashamcha. Because there it is not Asambhutim. Sambhutim is Krishna, Asambhutim is demigod worship. So there, Shruti doesn't speak about Krishna worship and demigod worship. By both you go back to Godhead. Then it says as instead of Sambhutim, it is mentioning Vinashanam. That Vinashanam is referred to temporary material world. You understand the Anartha Nivritti and Artha Pravritti in that case. Okay? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki. So tomorrow is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Appearance Day. And mostly we may have the change in timings. I don't know. Shubham Prabhu can check and let me know and let others also know. And let online devotees also know. You want to announce? What is our schedule tomorrow? Till lunch there is Pushpanjali.
After that, Prasad would be taken. Everybody can take the 130. Not 130 would be there.